station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox scored 5 runs in the top of the 7th inning, and that was enough for a 5-4 win in Detroit last night. Jarren Duran hit a 3-run homer in the win. That gives him 3 homers in his last 4 games. And Peyton Tolley added 7 great innings for his first Major League victory.
Yeah, felt great. I thought, we flooded the zone well, had a good game plan going in, was able to recover well this week, and was able to go out there and have a good day.
Series will continue tonight. Also, Roman Anthony left in the first inning after injuring his right wrist on a swing. X-rays negative after the game, but he'll fly back to Boston today to get it looked at by a specialist. Tigers have also placed lefty ace Tarek Skubal on the injured list. Is expected to miss at least the next 2 months after elbow surgery. At the NBA playoffs, Philadelphia beat the Celtics in historic fashion on Saturday, and then they had nothing left for the Knicks in round 2 of the playoffs. They lost by 39 in game 1 last night, 137-98. Out west, Minnesota took game 1 in San Antonio, 104-102. Orlando fired head coach Jamal Mosley yesterday. Dallas has hired former Toronto GM Masai Ujiri. And hockey-wise, Carolina beat Philadelphia 3-2 overtime in game 1 of that second-round playoff series. And Las Vegas took game 1 3-1. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by IBEW 103 and Nika Electrical Contractors. IBEW 103 celebrating 125 years of powering Greater Boston. To find a qualified contractor for your next electrical, telecom, or security project today, visit thepowerprofessionals.org. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Diving, but he's got a breakaway. To the backhand, throws it in front, coming to the spot.
The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
Yes, I finally shaved my nuts.
and Hardy
Who, me?
Just hanging around.
on 98.5.
Tinkerman, heard about you.
Yeah.
We're Costco guys. Of course we go shopping while eating a chicken bake.
That's gross.
Not a great cook, but I do cook.
When I asked him about the sides,
Kick them in the balls.
I don't care about it, but it's not good behavior.
Blaze Bailey is omitted.
Toucher and Hardy
we're the best friends that can be, my buddy and me.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
And everybody called it a gap year at the start, and then I started doing it satirically. Stop getting excited about this team and enjoy the house money year.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. A very exciting morning on the show. Just take my word for it. That's all you need to do. Bottom line.
I got excitement right from the jump here, Freddie. Got some mail this morning.
Yeah.
Again, no return address, no nothing. T-shirt. I'm like, oh, good. Well, it's addressed to me. Might be some trade organization or something I like. It's so much better. I will hold it up for you. And hold it up for YouTube.
Hold on. I keep going. Oh, yeah.
It's another Wallach T-shirt.
Same thing. Same kind of logo.
Well, but it's different. They've tweaked it a little bit.
What's the difference? I can't tell from here.
This one, you're in basketballs.
Waldick, big basketballs, bouncy. And instead of having you underneath a, let's call her a healthy woman.
Yeah.
And
a fat lady.
Yeah, either about to be smothered or just having been smothered by her ample posterior in a bed of pillows, you're in a bed of basketballs.
Ah.
And the color scheme is really nice. That's a good one.
I think that's AI, though, is the problem. I'm guessing that they funneled that into AI. I don't know. AI is ruining everything. If I thought someone sat down and, like, drew that, I'd be a lot more excited. Yeah, it's very similar to the Waldick pillows one.
I have the original. Yeah. It was behind me here, so this is the original.
Yeah. See, you have your arms straddling her thighs in that one, and in this one, you have your hands raised. Like, here I am.
In victory. Yeah.
Well, no, she's got victory, and you are.
Okay.
Yeah, you just are like got your hands up, like we just had a good time. You should be on your back with your head laying back. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be be able to look her in the eye.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
But John, you wear a large in a T-shirt, right?
I am.
Well, this one is your size. You could wear this.
Oh, fantastic! All right, toss that over here.
Yeah.
Wear that to your kids' next game.
Sure. Be in Franklin on tomorrow night.
It's almost like a call to arms for the ladies,
so to speak. Yes.
Every fat chick from miles away will know that you are on the market. There's no question about it. My parents are in town. They are here till Saturday. I'm not. I'm here till I leave on Friday. But they're here till Saturday. And it's a long time. It's a long time.
It's only Tuesday. Man.
They got here Friday.
Yeah.
Did you go to, I know you went to the game on Sunday. Did you go to a museum of any kind?
No, we went to the game on Sunday. I saw that proposal that went viral where the guy proposed to the lady.
Right.
I forgot about it, though.
She seemed very uninterested. And then John Henry's wife, for some reason, posted that online.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the guy. It's like...
She can relate.
I can't do this.
Well, no, yeah, she didn't.
Why are you asking?
No, he proposed, and she was like, I guess.
Yeah.
When are you dying? But, yeah, I saw that proposal. I forgot about it. And also the guy... most likely, at least at one point, is listening to the show. I don't know if I need to start piling on. He didn't do anything wrong. He just asked the lady to marry him. But it's starting. We're starting to sit and get in arguments because I saw that the market went down yesterday, and I just like out loud said, "Oh, I wonder if something happened." And then I read UAE claims that Iran bombed them or something of that nature, but it said claims that, and then my father became incensed that it said claims that. He didn't like that. He did not like that. And then he told me that he studies these issues very carefully, and he has more time and inclination to do so than me.
Right.
And that he studies them, and that he reads all kinds of things. And I go, well, what do you read? And he goes, because it's all Fox News. It's just, it's if we're being honest, it's entirely Fox News or like, Breitbart and, or Drudge Report rather, not Breitbart, Drudge Report, and getting links from Drudge Report. And so, I mean, if we're being completely honest, but he'll be like, CNN. I go, you read CNN? And he goes, yeah. I go, it's behind a paywall. I go, how do you read it? He goes, I watch CNN. But, like, I realized I always just thought I was – my parents are big fans of making me feel stupid. So but yesterday I almost realized coming in today, I'm like, you know what? I don't think my dad knows what he's talking about necessarily. And his way to get out of having to explain himself is to say that I research everything and I have he's like a little deprecating that I have more time to research it than you. Granted, I hadn't even said anything. I just was like, oh, you're pissed about the headline. I go, it's so boring. You're just like, the media and like you're just, because he's like a smart guy. It's like you're just repeating things verbatim from like the talking heads on television. Like you're just like repeating these tropes. It's not particularly interesting. Like a journalist would say UAE claims that Iran and their thing was Iran hadn't verified that they had done it. So like they were waiting for, confirmation that it indeed was Iran.
Okay. And
so like, but that like drove him crazy because he thought that whatever I was reading it from was like half-assing the report. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Well, I've never been on Breitbart before this moment, but I just logged on to see what type of fair and balanced coverage he's getting.
Is Trump's picture on the front page?
It is.
There you go.
With the headline, Trump, Iranian people need guns, will fight as good as anybody when they have them. Okay? So that's your headline. The Trump assassination attempt is the second trending story, along with Kimmel versus FLOTUS. They're still kicking that thing around. So I clicked on that one, and this tells you like what demographic they're appealing to. So number one, Jimmy Kimmel jokes about Rudy Giuliani being in the grave before hospitalization. Okay, so kind of more of the same there. And then Meryl Streep gives Kimmel tongue bath amid Trump feud. And then the third story, Jane Fonda denounces FCC's review of ABC license.
Fonda.
Well, I'm not Fonda Hanoi Jane. I remember Morton Downey Jr., doing an entire show about that. I'm like, as a kid, I'm watching Morton Downey Jr. because A, it was on.
You want to see boobs?
It was on. B, you could see some boobs every once in a while, and it was just crazy. It was Jerry Springer before Jerry Springer.
Right.
And the people being very upset with Jane Fonda over something in the Vietnam War, which I understand, why they're upset with Jane Fonda, but this was some 20 years later. And I'm like, I didn't even have a reference for this. I'm a kid trying to, be entertained here on a Saturday afternoon, but they're still going after Jane Fonda on the Breitbart site.
Right, because I'm sure everyone was super psyched to get drafted back during Vietnam.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the way she went about business, but I can imagine if there was a draft now, that the people that could be drafted and their parents might be a little upset about the idea of getting drafted into something as confusing and not clear cut as the Vietnam War.
Yeah, I don't know. The only picture I've ever seen is Jane Fonda sitting on top of a tank. I'm guessing of
of North Vietnamese. She went and she was like trying to humanize the people of Vietnam, and so she went to North Vietnam, which people, and you can not argue with this. If you were fighting in Vietnam, you were like she's sympathizing with the enemy while our boys are over there fighting, and that's fair. But I'm just saying that the anti-war stance is easy to sit and point fingers at, but if it was you or you getting drafted or your kids getting drafted, I think that it would be very unpopular. Short of World War II type situation.
I think it's interesting that Breitbart, when they're deciding what stories, they said, "Oh, here's someone that people were pissed off at, but it's been 55 years." Yeah, exactly. That's our target demo. Put it on the second page then. Make it a click through.
Right.
Well, and then I said, so whatever happened, and my mom started agreeing with me because I'm like, just tell me you find Gutfeld funny, like the overnight guy funny that Jimmy Norton stuff and does his show. Like he has a bunch of comedians on, but he was, I believe, the editor of Maxim, and I'm like, do you think he's funny? He's like, well, do you think, because this is the equivalency, he's like, do you think, and I'm like, no, I don't. Because he was going to say, like, do you think Fallon or Colbert are funny? And I was going to say, and no, I don't at all.
No.
In fact, I thought Colbert during COVID was nauseating. He had the dancers as the needles, like, just that's not, none of that's funny. Like, you're virtue signaling, like, stop. I hated all that stuff. But if you're trying to get me on, do you think that these late night hosts are funny? No. But if you tell me that Gutfeld guy is funny, now we are now you're just full of crap, and there's no way you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. That, and with the Kimmel stuff too. Like, I don't know if Jimmy Kimmel is funny because I don't watch that show, and I certainly don't sit there and when he's going after Trump or anyone else sit there and clap along because I don't watch it.
Well, the thing about Kimmel is that if you got that bump the last time you got in trouble from the White House, wouldn't you try to instigate them again? I mean, he'd never been more popular in his career than when he went after Trump. And this is when that network late night stuff's dying. I mean, he became like a real like cause. I mean, Jesus, I don't need the FCC going after people for political reasons. I canceled Disney after that. So Disney Plus after that. I mean, that's a wild overreach of government power. And as I've said before, the one thing that I don't know much, but I do know I did have to learn about the FCC and their rights and their place. And that, for me, is a gigantic overreach, and I did not care for that. So I'm on Kimmel's side with that. But the I don't know if he's funny or not anymore. I don't know. I don't watch it. Obviously, I don't watch it at night, and I don't consume it on YouTube, so I don't really know. He's a really nice guy. I like him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's responsible for making a joke 2 days before there's an assassination attempt. I don't know if that's where he was making a joke about Melania Trump being a younger woman marrying an old guy and waiting for him to die. I don't know if that's tantamount to calling for, Harry Carey, but what do you know? But that's it. My parents and I are starting to argue. I'm starting to lose my patience, which was as much my fault as their fault. But I'm beginning to lose my patience.
Sounds like, you were somewhat complicit in this. You engaged. You asked questions. How dare you?
But I just like that I said, what's going, because the market was down a little bit. So I was like, oh, something must have happened. But I made the mistake of saying it out loud. And I said, something must have happened. And then I looked and I went, oh.
You're in your own home. You're not in Tennessee. You're not staying over. You're in your own house. I think you should be allowed to say whatever you want.
The only thing that pissed me off is all I did was read the headline.
Yeah, what you said was completely innocuous.
Which was a headline just reporting that the United Arab Emirates had claimed to have been bombed from Iran, and he attached himself to the word claimed. And then I started going, well, yeah, because they haven't confirmed it. They're saying right here that Iran hasn't taken credit for the attack. And so at that point I was like then it was my fault, because then I got like really annoyed. Then that just annoyed me. I had enough. Like, it's uncomfortable. Like, everything's uncomfortable. I like being at their house. I don't particularly like it while they're here. It's my house. They don't really use the stairs. So like, we're like pretty much like in my living room.
Ah, yes.
And then we're like all on top of each other. Imagine if they were staying at my house. Oh my God. And so, but we're just all on top of each other. So it's just very difficult.
Have your parents taken trips by themselves anywhere?
So they're going. My son is pitching tonight, so we're going out there. So that's tonight, and then tomorrow, my mom's sorority sister lives in Rhode Island, so she's going to Rhode Island with my dad. So I won't see them at all tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
And then I'll see him on Thursday, and then I leave on Friday.
Okay,
so Detroit,
home stretch
with my daughter, and so that will be. So yeah. It's much better at their house than it is at my house. Their house is lots of separation. Lots of separation.
Take a walk down to the dock. Walk down the lake.
Well, we have our own floor. They're on the first floor, and we're on in the quote unquote basement. It's not underground, but it's underground in one half and not the other. But we're down in that basement, and they're upstairs, and you only see them if you have to. You're not sitting on the couch next to him. That's uncharted territory. I went my whole youth without sitting next to my dad on a couch. We could have. Now it's just we're forcing ourselves into these awkward situations.
You know what? You just mentioned that, and when my mom is visiting, yes, we will like sit on the couch and watch TV together after dinner. And I'm trying to think if I ever did that as a kid. I don't think so. And with my dad, we would sit in two separate chairs, and toward the end of his life, I would go to visit him, and he had the 2 chairs in front of the TV, and I knew which one was his, and I would just sit in the other, and he would come down, and I'd try and get him to watch Jackass.
My dad spent 0 minutes in downstairs ever. Unless he was pacing and fretting, he spent all his time upstairs in his bedroom watching TV. So I bet you I sat on the couch with him in 18 years under a dozen times in my entire life. That's not a lie. I mean, I was in a car with him and stuff infrequently, like just me and him only me and him in a car.
Oh man, I
maybe 100 times in my youth.
Seriously, they like stand out. I can remember like a couple of the. I can remember the one time being in the car with my sister and my dad, like the 3 of us going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like that when we were kids, that happened precisely once, and then just trips along. Well, when he got older, we would like go play golf and stuff. So yeah, there were enough times. But when I was a kid and he was like driving me somewhere, no, a handful of times. It was always Mom.
Yeah. But I think that was the era. John, were you on your couch with your father very much?
We had one couch when I was really young, one couch, and it was in like that formal living room that no one went into. So I would watch television with my father in the kitchen. We'd have 2. And then when I got older, they built like a small addition with a wood-burning stove, and that had a couch in it, but it also had 2 chairs around a glass table that no one touched. And one of us would be in the chair, and one of us would be in the couch. But no, there was no family bonding moment where we all sat on the couch and talked about things. No,
and we didn't eat together. So, and I was an only child too. So you have to remember, I'm the only one in there. And so, there was not a lot of eating together, and that I recall. Maybe there was. I don't know. I'm sure if they were up this early, which there's no way that they would. Well, he wouldn't. He doesn't know what's going on, but that she might argue. She'd probably start crying.
Well, what day are they coming into the show? Are they coming in tomorrow? Are they coming in on Thursday?
Well, they're doing the show on Thursday.
Okay. Oh, the whole show?
Yeah, I'm going to be gone. Okay. But you won't know the difference.
Okay, in your stead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you won't know the difference because the 2 of them together you'll be in stitches. The 2 of them together, they finish each other's sentences in a comedic way.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like Burns and Allen. It's a whole thing. So look out for that. My parents will be hosting the show. My dad's got a lot to say. My dad, I will tell you this. We were at dinner with my daughter last night, and my dad goes, Jesus Christ. And I go, and then I'm like, what? And he goes, it's only the top of the first, and the Brewers got a runner on second. And it's like, okay. We're filling time now. We're just filling time. We're filling the air with noise. We're filling the air with noise. That's all we're doing.
He was incredulous.
That's when I was 18 years old, I had a silver dollar collection. If I had that today, you're worth a lot of money.
So how bored are you that you're A, looking at the Cardinals game, and B, reacting that
there's a runaround in the first.
Yeah, reacting that, you're so bored that you're just reacting to that. I mean, they're driving me crazy. I know it's my fault. I'm as equally.
Why are they there for 8 days?
I don't know.
Why did they come up for 8 days?
I don't know.
It's a long visit.
I mean, that's a really long. It's like twice as long as normal.
But
right?
the thing is, I won't see them till 2:45 today. So, but whatever.
So that's the carrot dangling at the end of your day. It's nice.
Well, we're going to see my son pitch. Which that could be a recipe for either nice not talking or real anger.
How long's the car ride?
It's in Groton.
Okay, so significant.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
it is significant. All right, we'll be back to catch you up with everything that happened last night. You only have one local team for the next 4 months, so it ain't going to be much locally. But we'll be back in just a moment. It's brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happens. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what's going on?
Red Sox in Detroit last night, what would end up being a very rainy affair, but the clouds opened up at the start of the game, and the sun was shining down, and some good news for the Red Sox.
A little bit of an earlier start, about a half hour earlier because of impending rain. Dave O'Brien alongside Red Sox world champion Will Middlebrooks. Well, the Red Sox will not be facing the two-time Cy Young Award winner Tarek Skubal, out with an elbow.
Didn't have to face Skubal after all. So the Red Sox ran out onto the field, and what do we know about Skubal at this point? An elbow injury.
He felt something in his elbow the last time he pitched in a game, but he finished and he struck out the side in the last inning that he pitched. And then they were kind of downplaying everything, and then he was throwing on Sunday. And Hinch said that his elbow locked up in quotations. And so Skubal had been, to his credit, Hardy, who thinks every baseball player is a huge pussy, had been putting off getting it examined because he wanted to pitch. But then when it locked up, he got it examined, and they went in and they found loose debris in his elbow. So there's no timeline for he has to have a procedure, and there's no timeline for his return.
The online doctors and all the reports I read yesterday say a procedure like this will cost a pitcher at least 2 months, which will put him out until about the All-Star break.
Well, that's very unfortunate timing for him.
Yes, because he's going to be a free agent after this season is over. That's right.
And he's looking to become, obviously, the highest paid pitcher of all time, which probably would still happen, but it's just a reminder that it's very, very difficult to give starting pitchers that much money because they will miss time. Not time like they're going to miss a couple months. They're going to miss like years of that. They'll miss a year of the contract at least because there's just no way. There's a couple guys that, the Dutch boy kid that played the cover songs here, Arroyo, he never got hurt.
Right. He made every start for about a decade.
Nolan Ryan never got hurt. But for every one of those guys, there's everyone else. It's just too hard. And then you look at the Garrett Cole contract, and Garrett Cole's pitching in the minors now, and his stuff's not the same. So apparently it's not. He doesn't look great right now in the minors. He doesn't have the same velocity. Apparently, it's just not as good. So there is a huge risk in giving a starting pitcher that much money, which is kind of odd that the Tigers didn't trade him if they could have gotten a massive haul for him while they could have. But I guess they want to win this year.
Well, you can't blame them, and you also can't blame the Red Sox for wanting to take advantage of this situation. Skubal out, so let's go out there and play our best baseball.
Holy with the 0-1. Throw back to first and down the line. Narvaez threw that one away. Keith is rounding third. He's going back to the bag as the throw comes home. Now the throwing mistake by Narvaez. It'll put runners at second and third.
That's unusual. You're telling me bad fielding? Come on. Bad throwing?
But it was pouring rain. And you saw what happened later when the Tigers right fielder looked up at a routine fly ball, and it just he looked up and he couldn't see it. It was pouring down rain, and then it landed a foot in front of him.
But I think that may have been the heaviest rain I've ever seen them play baseball.
Well, they put a notice on the scoreboard that said "Seek shelter."
And then kept the teams out there.
Yeah, they had the crowd leave the uncovered seating and go seek shelter.
I turned it on late, so I turned it on about that point in the game. It was like sixth inning, and it's not raining. And I hear on the broadcast they're saying, "Now people are heading to the exits. They're out of here." I'm like, "It's the sixth inning. It's scoreless, or it was 2-0 at that point." I'm like, "Why are people leaving?" Oh, because they told them to seek shelter and get the hell out of there. And then kept everybody on the field for another 30 minutes?
Easily, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was pouring rain.
Yeah, so John's going to crap all over that error. But I would contend that
pattern of behavior, Fred.
Right.
I mean, they've been better recently, but pattern of behavior. That's all.
They're one of the worst teams in baseball. But the thing is that I'm not going to give them a lot of crap for that throwing error. It was in a monsoon.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Monasterio at third base threw one away when it wasn't raining.
All right, well, then that makes more sense.
Shattered bat. Gobbled up by Montecero coming home. He threw that way.
Oh, that was Rainey.
The run scores. Here comes the second runner. Jones trying to get across the plate. He will. Tigers get 2. It is 2-0 Detroit.
Well, he tried to make a hero play on that. He was falling away and tried to throw home.
So that's okay. When you do something stupid, but your intentions are good.
It only cost him 2 runs.
No, that was a bad play. But the throw to first
You've turned into a real Red Sox fanboy, Fred.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
I mean, bordering on apologist.
If you went and listened to Detroit radio today and they were crapping on the right fielder for not catching that fly ball, I would say you're out of your mind. It's hard for me to get on guys when there's a monsoon where they've cleared the crowd and they're like, play, and then they make a throwing error, because I'd imagine the ball's not in the condition they're used to it throwing. And you have hit the nail on the head. I'm becoming quite the Red Sox fan.
I know.
At 51, I've decided to switch all allegiances and get really dug in with this team.
What's the opposite of a heel turn? When you turn into a good guy?
I don't know.
Babyface.
Oh, there you go. No,
Babyface.
He's right, actually. I think that's right.
Yeah. Actually, he's right, actually. Okay, Dad. You're going to catch me very sensitive today, Jonathan. I would tread on me with very. I've been around my father for 3 days.
Okay, I got you.
I would.
Fair enough.
I would urge you to tread lightly, because I'll just give you back what I've received.
No one say anything to Fred today. He's very sensitive. I understand.
Absolutely.
The openings of actually yelling at people have gone back. I've digressed back to yelling at people, so don't think that I can't get into that here.
Let's get back into Fred's good graces. Here's something that will make him really happy.
Rarely yell anymore.
Fly down the left field line. Go into the corner. There goes Green taking a look. That ball is gone. Home run. Jaylen Brown with a 3-run homer. Red Sox have been looking for that for days. And the Sox jump in front.
That's your guy. It's your team.
Yeah, I love Duran.
Jaylen Brown, 3 for 5 to raise his average to 200. All right.
John, don't. Sorry. He's a Red Sox.
I'm sorry.
I think the only reason I seem positive is because John has adopted the trope of constantly crapping on the Red Sox, win or lose.
I just hate the way they're being run. I really do. I hate the ownership. I hate the robot GM.
Why don't you bitch about the Jacobs not spending any money too while you're at it?
I can't stand it.
Why don't you hire a plane to fly over Fenway Park and sell the team?
Sure.
It's like, there's a legitimate reason to be pissed at the Red Sox. They're horrible. But it just gets drowned out in 20 years of bitching about them, whether they win or lose. It gets all lost. So even when it's a year like this year where they're most likely just going to be bad all year, it's still it's hard to work up. The Devers trade, that was really stupid.
Really bad.
But, this team's not very good.
The trade deadline was lousy. The guys they got back, lousy, not on the team.
No, they built this team very poorly.
Yes.
And with the injuries to the starting pitching and this lineup, they're
only 3
bad.
members of the starting rotation are out, and the 4th guy needs an opener today. So Bayo can't start games now. They had to start a reliever tonight in his place, and then he's going to come in. That'll change everything.
Which is good for baseball. There's nothing like an opener to really get the senses cooking.
Don't get too invested in this guy. He's only going to out there 2 innings tops.
I think it's 1. I think Giovanni Moran's going to pitch 1.
Well, yeah. Let's make it so we never have no stars that are pitchers. Let's just take a whole positional group,
right,
and make them
positionless baseball.
Yeah, just a positional group.
Works for the NBA.
A positional group, and say there's no way that you'll ever have a star because no one's going to pitch more than an inning. They want to make that rule with a minimum amount of innings for a starting pitcher, which I think is smart, because at least then you force these guys to
take it easy on their arms. I would think if you're going to have a minimum number of innings that you have to go out there and start.
Well, yeah, I guess, one of the things would be that you would have to focus on something other than finding as many guys that can throw 100 as you can.
Right. I tell you who is a star in the rain, Peyton Tolle.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I was thankful that they kept letting me go. I thought there for a second they told the fans to go up underneath the structure, and I was like, are we about to call this thing? It didn't. It tried to settle in that 6th inning, but yeah, it was a good. I was happy to keep going out there.
There you go.
Tolle was really good. Really good. Give the Red Sox credit for two things. Connolly Early, who is coming off a bad start, but has been more good than bad, and Tolley, who's striking guys out.
Yeah, eight strikeouts, 7 innings, just the one hit allowed, and picks up the win.
The 2 unearned runs on a bad fielding play. That was it.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. All right, John, it's nice of you to admit that. To finally give someone credit.
What did the team that beat the Celtics do in their first game of the second round of the playoffs? We will find out here in just a moment.
All right, here are the headlines.
Red Sox won in Detroit last night, 5-4. Peyton Tolley, 7 strong innings for his first Major League victory. Jarren Duran, a 3-run homer. Sox lost Roman Anthony last night. He left after injuring his right-hander wrist, taking a swing. He'll fly back to Boston today to get looked at by a specialist after imaging came back negative following the game. As for Detroit, they lost a big piece of their roster yesterday. Lefty ace Tarek Skubal needs elbow surgery. He's expected to be out until at least the All-Star break. At the NBA playoffs, the Knicks embarrassed Philadelphia 137-98 in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series. And at the NHL playoffs, Carolina beat Philadelphia 3-2 in overtime in Game 1. And Las Vegas beat Anaheim 3-1 to take a 1-0 series lead. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. Reach your health and weight goals with Reclaim by Awaken 180, a 10-week medication-free plan with weekly results and a finish line. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going on?
The Philadelphia 76ers, of course, beat the Celtics in Game 7 at the Garden on Saturday night and faced the New York Knicks in the first game of the second round last night. Let's check in and see what the Knicks were getting up to.
Hart blew up a dribble handoff left side, took it away from George, finds a streaking Bridges. He'll get to the cup for his second slam of the game.
All right, so that was Mikal Bridges there for the Knicks in the first half. Let's pinpoint the spot in the game where you would hear a name on the court that you would recognize. I think it may have been now.
We'll go here for three, and hits from the top of the key. A scoop pass from Alvarado, and no hesitation from Towns. He is 2 of 3 from downtown already.
As the Knicks were up about 20 at the half, and they would pile on in the third, and then the starters were out, and the Knicks would be en route to a 137-98 win over the 76ers. Let me say that again. 137-98 Game 1 win for the Knicks.
They talked to Paul George after the game, and he did not sound overly concerned. I don't know how invested Philadelphia was in that game at all, emotionally. It seemed like once the first quarter was over, they kind of just were like, all right, this is going to be a long series.
Nick Nurse pulled his starters early in the third quarter when they were down 30. He was like, that's it. We've had enough.
Yeah, we played 2 nights ago. It was an emotional win in a Game 7.
Yeah.
Look, the Knicks are very much peaking right now, and that's a good sign, I guess, if you're a Knicks fan. But
Knicks have won each of their last 3 playoff games by more than 25 points.
Yes, and I heard something where the Knicks have not played their starters in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games, and that's like fairly unprecedented, that they really don't have data. It's at least since the late 90s, and I guess before then they didn't bother because they were just not doing due diligence. They didn't bother to really put down who was playing if the starters were pulled. I don't know, but that's where I guess Elias could find the information.
Yeah, Brunson had 35 points in 31 minutes last night.
Yeah, he scored 27 of his 35 in the first half.
Yeah.
Once again, important to start a game well. Getting your best players out there.
Play the guys that have been there.
Yeah. Play the guys who have played together before. Stuff like that.
Another thing, if I'm Philadelphia, is New York shot 51% from 3. I don't know if that's something that they can keep doing.
Yeah, I don't know if you can rely on that. But you're right, Fred. The role that they've been on after they were down a game to Atlanta, they've won 4 straight by a total of 135 points. First team since the detailed play-by-play began to lead 3 straight playoff games by at least 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going back.
They're playing really
years.
well. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Game 2.
All right.
See if they shoot 50% again.
Let's head out west. And
maybe Philadelphia will start Kyle Lowry just to switch things up.
I love seeing that little butterball there. He's not even on the bench anymore. Is he in the second row?
No. He was in there.
I thought I saw him. I thought I saw him in the second row. One of those
I swear to God, he's there as like, all right, you're never going to play, but we like the attitude you bring to the team.
He's like a mascot.
But he got out there, and he's, whatever he is, he's 6'1", 250 pounds. You get him out there. Oh, my God, you're an NBA player?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's practicing a lot.
No, I think he's just
You would think
there.
even just walking around on a basketball court, you'd be able to cut some weight.
You're getting your steps in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you don't get to park next to the court when you got to go to shoot around every day.
Right. That's what we call a low center of gravity at this point.
Yeah, you would figure like during practice, like a shoot around, you're at least standing up, which would burn some sort of calories. But he got like a minute. He plays maybe less than anyone on that team.
But yeah, you saw him out there at the end of the game, and oh my God, what happened to you?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe there was a game where like everyone played and he played a minute.
Yeah, right at the end, at the very, 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 very end of the game.
Yes, and that was the guy that was made a lot of money in the NBA, and he's playing, hanging on and playing a minute.
Minnesota Timberwolves were in San Antonio to begin their series with the Spurs last night. Victor Wembanyama with an historic night, really good night.
Reed attacking, blocked by Wembanyama, his 8th. He has tied Dwight Howard for the most blocks in a playoff half since 1996-97.
Wembanyama would finish with 11 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 blocks. That is an NBA postseason record. Third player to get a triple-double in the playoffs that included blocks since the league started keeping that stat in, early 70s.
Offensively, not good. Not good at all.
Not good.
And ultimately, that cost San Antonio the game. He did not play well. And defensively, great. Offensively, lousy.
Also, Anthony Edwards coming back and playing may have had something to do with it.
6 to shoot. Ant settles for the 3. Right side. It's on its way. It's nothing but net. Anthony Edwards' third 3. He's up to 13 points.
Not expected to play. He's out with a bone bruise. They thought he was going to miss the first 2 games of the series. Instead, he shows up, scores 18 points, and the Timberwolves get the 104-102 win in San Antonio.
Off the bench, Anthony Edwards last night, 18 points. Big win.
Yeah, last night he only played he played 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there you go. Spurs not exactly reeling after that loss, but for you're looking at 2 teams out west. The Timberwolves were not one of the teams I was looking at that I was picking to make it. So 1 game.
One other note before we go to break. Just the NHL playoffs. Las Vegas beat Anaheim 3-1 in game 1 of that series, second round. Remember Vegas fired Bruce Cassidy at the end of the season and hired John Tortorella? Have you seen what Tortorella has done since then? From the day he was hired, they had 8 games left in the regular season. Vegas goes 7-0-1 in those 8 games to win the division. And here they are in the second round, up a game. They look like they were dead when they fired Cassidy, and Tortorella has done the job.
Well, that should be sustainable.
Well, oddly enough, they only signed him through the end of this year, so we'll see what happens in the summer. But yeah,
it's probably a brilliant. It's probably a brilliant hire for a short term. Like if you want someone to come in and like rattle sabers and stuff, you bring him in. I'd be very. The thing is, if they go on and win, not win the Stanley Cup, but if they go on and like they go on like a run, you almost have to bring him back, right? Can you?
Oh yeah.
Can he be like a closer that teams just bring in like right before the playoffs? Because he obviously can coach, right?
Yeah.
But it's just that he seems perfect for like a, in the playoffs, everyone's hyper focused and they're willing to put that kind of effort in.
Right.
You're not asking for a guy in January to block 6 shots in a game, where they're like, dude, like I'm in a lot of pain and I don't really feel like playing in this game. But the playoffs, these guys, at least in the playoffs, they all want to win. So maybe bringing Tortorella in at that time is a perfect thing. And maybe the smartest thing for him to do, if you want to get crazy with it, is that he would just turn around and leave, like let and go, and then sit around and just like kind of cherry pick playoff wins.
I tell you that I saw them when I was there in March. That they looked like a dead ass team at the end of March. They ended up.
Well, that's just it. You were there right before they hired Tortorella.
Yeah, within a week, I think it was maybe even less than that, and they end up finishing in first in the division. They're hosting there, and they've managed to turn around. They're like the building was dead, the team looked dead. It's just wasn't a lot to it. So 3-1 win last night over Anaheim.
All right, we will be back in just a moment. We have some more of Jaylen Brown on Twitch on Sunday, along with Kendrick Perkins reacting to that. We can get all into that in just a moment.
Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox won in Detroit last night 5-4. The Sox got all their runs on the top of the seventh inning with a 3-run homer from Jaylen Brown as the centerpiece.
A good pitcher, and he's got really good stuff, so I was just trying to get something to my zone, and I just happened to get a pitch to handle.
Peyton Tolle allowed 2 unearned runs and struck out 8 over 7 innings for his first Major League win. This series continues tonight. The bad news is Roman Anthony left in the first inning after injuring his right wrist on a swing. X-rays negative after the game, but he will fly back to Boston today to get it looked at by a team specialist. Tigers have also placed ace lefty Tarek Skubal on the injured list. He's expected to miss at least 2 months after elbow surgery. At the NBA playoffs, the Knicks embarrassed Philadelphia 137-98 in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series last night. Minnesota then turned in an upset 104-102 win in San Antonio in Game 1 there. Orlando has fired head coach Jamal Mosley. Detroit has signed head coach J.B. Bickerstaff to a contract extension. And at the NHL playoffs, Carolina beat Philadelphia in Game 1 3-2 in overtime. And Las Vegas scored a 3-1 win over Anaheim to take a 1-0 series lead. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your Clyde drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
You actually coaching the game? Oh, it's just that is. I feel so strongly about that. I can't even tell you.
Boston Talk Sports here.
What do we got?
The Sports Hub. Why do people listen to Touch Your
Because it's a thing.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
No idea what you're talking about.
Here's more of The Thing on the Sports Hub.
Oh, yeah. We are Toucher and Hardy, and the Celtics are no longer playing basketball. They lost in a Game 7 to the Philadelphia 76ers. They are up 3-1 in that series. Joel Embiid did not play the first 3 games of that series. And Jaylen Brown, we played Sean Grande yesterday, which was very upsetting to me, because he had the whole season been saying sarcastically, which he admits to, that it was a gap year, and how correctly wrong everyone was for thinking that the team would not succeed without Jason Tatum, that they would struggle without Jason Tatum. They proved everyone wrong.
And everybody called it a gap year at the start, and then I started doing it satirically.
Right. He was doing it satirically because the satire in it was, look at how dumb everyone is. First of all, I think Sean might have coined the phrase gap year, but the thing was how foolish everyone was not to believe in this team. And with every victory became more of a sort of posturing as if you were all these idiots out there that didn't think the team was going to be any good. And fair enough, the team was way better. But when you do that all year, when the team loses a Game 7 against a play-in team that they were incredibly favored against, you can't then at that moment choose to say,
stop getting excited about this team and enjoy the house money year.
Yeah, now it's a house money year. He realizes.
And by excited, he means angry.
Yeah. No, he says, still stay excited about this team.
Stop getting excited about this team and enjoy the house money year.
How is it a house money year anymore if Tatum was back and playing well? What was house money about that? Washburn, who we're going to talk to today in a next segment, has an article out about how the window for Brown and Tatum, you lose years of this. Each year is another year. It gets less and less likely that you're going to get multiple championships, obviously. If they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals last year, I would imagine that they'll fire Missoula. And, there could be even moves this offseason. Who knows? Not with firing Missoula, but moves this offseason maybe to shake this team up a little bit. Apparently they have money and things of that nature. But I did find that, and look, Grandy's good at play-by-play, and I could understand if he doesn't like me. I make fun of him all the time. We were going to play that audio because I had gotten emails that he referenced the show, which is, in this case, me, because I'm the one who makes fun of him. But my whole strategy was I was just going to go fair enough. Like, I could see if I'm him, I wouldn't like me either. I make fun of him. And he doesn't seem to have the best sense of humor, which makes it all the more fun to make fun of him. But I will tell you this, is that you cannot, and I wish I almost didn't make fun of Grandy so much because you really can't. You cannot do that. You can't make your whole identity of this holier-than-thou guardian of the Celtics and then turn around and the minute they lose go, I didn't mean any of that. Like, you can't, right? Like, it's really bad. Like, you can't do that at all. Like, the whole year you were so condescending about how no one believed in him. Without it being said, you're inferring that
Nobody
believed
picked the Celtics ahead of the Sixers.
Like, his point was before the year, no one picked the Celtics ahead of the Sixers, which say that is true. Yeah, then the year happened, right? Like, then the year happened. Like, the Bruins... The Bruins are a totally different example. The Bruins lost. It's disappointing, and I thought they could beat Buffalo. I thought they would beat Buffalo. I mean, I didn't put money on it, but I thought they could, or they would, but they didn't. But then you go, okay, well, they weren't supposed to do anything at all. They're not anywhere near a championship window, so good. Then they'll just, theoretically, there's no way they'll be worse next season, right? Theoretically. On paper, there's no way that they would be worse next season. But the Celtics, number 2 seed in the East, you were the favorite to come out of the East, and then you lose to an inferior team when you were up 3-1. You lose at home 3 games at home, and then you just turn around and go, I didn't mean any of that before. Everything for all year, my whole act was just that, an act. Who's he trying to appease? Is there pressure on you as a broadcaster, Jonathan?
Nope.
I don't really understand it. I don't get it. Anyway.
Whatever anybody says now, whatever they pretend, changing history.
What? Yeah, changing history. History changed. Yes, before the season, people thought that the Celtics could be even a play-in team. Then the season happened.
They quickly changed that narrative, and Jaylen Brown had an incredible regular season. Joe Mazzulla did a great job of coaching all these guys. And, yes, they were the number 2 seed in the East, but they quickly were accepted as the favorite, the best team in the East. Pathway wide open to get back to the finals.
National guys calling for them to make the NBA Finals. Right. Yes.
Okay.
And that goes from that to
stop getting excited about this team and enjoy the house money year.
Yeah, it's just it just really annoys me. It really annoys me because the whole year wagging his finger and talking down, and then they lose. The only team, by the way, that lost their home game 7. Everyone else managed to win. Teams that are worse than you all managed to win. I mean, would you? Who? I mean, Orlando had injuries, but the Pistons were down 3-1, and they looked terrible. And they were down 20 in Game 6 and managed to win that game.
With your best player, some would argue your only real bona fide, A-list player had a punctured lung a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and he missed the whole end of the season, and they managed to hang on to that number 1 seed. And whatever, they were down 3-1 in that series, and they managed to win. I mean,
yeah, there's only one team that was favored that struggled, and that was Denver.
Right.
Yeah. But they lost in 6. They didn't lose a home game 7.
Well, I mean, and now the whole story in Denver is getting rid of Jamal Murray. So, like, there's a price to pay for Denver. Listen, Denver's not skating away from this. Denver's in big trouble. I mean, Anthony Edwards isn't playing, and you still lose to Minnesota. That's a whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Jaylen Brown got on Twitch. And he was streaming on Sunday, and he streamed for a long time. These are cherry-picked things. But he had this to say.
This is my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree.
It's a person's opinion. There's no question. It is. He is a person.
This is my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. You know what I mean? But argue with your grandma. Flopping has ruined our game.
But she's dead.
Oh. Did you cry at your grandmother's funeral?
My grandmother, my dad's mom was just in a box in their closet forever. I don't even remember her funeral. But my mom's mom, I had to sit at an open viewing for no joke 8 hours. And so, yeah, being around, I did tear up because being around the dead body for that. Plus, my grandfather freaked out. But like being around that dead body for that long started to mess with me. Like around hour 7, I started to like. It's too much time to think about how it's never going to move again, it being the dead body.
Right.
The soul is very much alive, the energy.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, but no, I've obviously been upset when people have died, but, my grandmother was super old, but being in the room with the dead body that long kind of messed with me. I wouldn't suggest it. I don't know why they had me sit in that room.
How old were you?
21.
Oh, well, because you're a grown person. That's why.
Yeah, but I don't know why 8 hours is necessary. Like for you to sit in the room with a dead body.
How much
for 8
time
hours.
to grieve? There's no stopwatch on it, Fred.
No, but I would have liked to stopwatch on how long I had to be in the immediate proximity of a dead body that was consistently in my peripheral. That I would have. That I struggled to see the merit of.
Were you allowed to get up and get like a soda or something?
No, but I can tell you what happened that night. Is that my father and I went to a bar to watch the Jets were playing Oakland on Monday Night Football or whatever, Oakland or Los Angeles, wherever the hell they were. And a woman was super drunk and hit on my father.
Nice.
Which was really something else.
How did he handle it?
Oh, you could tell he's been through this before.
Get away from me. I'm with my kid.
He banged her.
Oh.
Yeah.
He said, "Do you have a friend for my son?"
Death is, a sneaky aphrodisiac.
Yeah. I'll never forget
horny.
that.
Wow.
I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. Because I know I was at least 21 because I could drink. And my dad was not the kind to let me drink if I wasn't 21.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I drank. And I just know that there was this super, super drunk lady that was like really hitting on my dad. And my dad is no Casanova, let's be honest. I mean, I came out of him. He can't be that good looking a guy. Now you say, Fred, that's not true.
Absolutely.
Hey. All right.
Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in basketball history. Flops. He know it. This ain't breaking news. This ain't, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I can clip it up, like I said. Y'all can post it on these paid accounts that y'all, these bot, whatever. That's just my opinion.
Yes, the AI is very much after Jaylen Brown. It is why it was invented. And here is Kendrick Perkins. He's on, you'll find this hard to believe, a podcast. I hear that it's not great audio quality. This is how we got it. It's not our fault. He's on a podcast where there's people milling about in the back. So here, it's going to bother you, Hardy, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
So here's Kendrick Perkins on Jaylen Brown saying that Embiid flopped.
JB, I get it, bro. Like, the villain role, you not being invited to USA Basketball. We don't see you on a lot of commercials because you're highly educated, graduated from Cal, know your history, you speak your mind, you speak your truth, which may turn off a lot of...
You know why he had to go to Cal? Because he ran afoul of in some trouble, and that Cal was the only people that were still offering.
That was, yeah. He got some ticket with an expired license or registration, and he got arrested. I mean, he lives in near Atlanta. Got arrested, and about 5 or 6 schools dropped out. And during his senior year, and Cal was the only school to step in.
I'm not doubting it. I'm just genuinely curious. Did he graduate from Cal?
He went 1 year to Cal before he entered the draft, so I don't know the answer to that. I would probably say no, but I'm not sure.
Some football player that went to Georgia, a good football player just graduated from Georgia. So there's a chance he graduated. He certainly didn't graduate as a full-time student.
No.
But there is a chance. Cal's a very good school. Their fans love to chase Dr. McGillicuddy's with lemonade.
Well, you don't want to get too tuned up. You gotta maintain.
I'll tell you, BC Cal, it was a real Met Gala. It was models everywhere.
ACC.
It was the Met Gala.
Bitter
now.
rivals.
It actually was the Met Gala now. It was a bunch of tech people. So, yes, it was
Yeah.
the Met Gala now. See, I got my finger on the pulse of the Met Gala.
Brands and stuff like that from doing deals with you. I understand, and I applaud you when it comes to that part. But this right here that you talking, you can miss me with all this. You up 3-1. Your ass flops at times to sell calls. I don't want to hear that. It was no agenda whatsoever. The agenda was that y'all couldn't make shots. The agenda was that y'all refused to switch up y'all style of play of shooting threes after threes after threes when at times y'all could have drove the damn basketball and went got some layups or put some pressure on the referees. The referees are not going to give the Celtics calls because they shoot a lot of jump shots. If you're a team that's aggressive, guess what? You put pressure on the referees. You're a team that's not aggressive. You live by the three, you die by the three.
That is a good point. I mean, if you're not going to the basket, I don't know how many fouls you're going to pick up. If you're just launching threes in the fourth quarter, you're not going to get fouled.
Or if you're losing the handle on the basketball, the second you get into the paint and you don't get a shot up, you're not going to get that call either.
The other part of this, and we talked about it during the series, Jaylen Brown is one of the better drivers to the basket in the league. He's clearly the best the Celtics had, but because of the defense Paul George played on him, he couldn't get there. Mm-hmm. He couldn't get to the basket to draw the fouls. He was cut off before he could do that, and that forced him to take more jumpers. Celtics fire up a lot of threes, and I agree. You're not going to get a ton of calls if you stand out on the perimeter.
And just so everyone's on the same page, Brown had 3 fouls in Game 7. It's not like he was dealing with foul issues and foul trouble and that he, it was in any way influencing play or his playing time. I mean, he was not in any foul trouble.
How many? I know, but it's not like he was complaining about the foul trouble as much as he was getting called for the offensives. Do you know how many of those 3 were offensives?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
But it doesn't really matter. It's 3 possessions.
Only in his narrative. And he would, I'm sure, further argue he had to change the way he played as a result of those offensive foul calls.
This is the way the game is played. I mean, the Celtics had one of the best floppers of all time, and Marcus Smart played for this team for how long? I mean, it just
not long enough.
This is the way it is done. You flop. Embiid spends more time on the ground than a lot of players do, but he gets away with it. And a lot of players do. He's not the only one.
It's just an odd thing the day after you lost the Game 7 at home with a 3-1 lead in that series that you're pointing to the officiating and saying the referees had an agenda. What's the agenda? They wanted the Celtics to lose?
The same agenda that they've had. They called that series the same way as any other series, any other game.
You don't think the league wanted Celtics-Knicks? Like that's something that they didn't want?
A hell of a lot more juice than the series you got now.
Certainly.
Y'all died by the 3. Y'all was up 3-1 in this series. You fucking lost 3 home games in the Boston Garden. 3. It used to be a sacred place. It used to be a hard place to win, for opponents to win games in there. But instead, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid walked into your mother crib, shoes all muddy, went kick their feet up on your coffee table, order DoorDash with your credit card.
Right.
That's how comfortable they was.
Okay.
Rubbing their toes, wiggling their toes together. So don't come telling me about an agenda that the league or the referees or anybody had towards y'all. The agenda was that y'all didn't protect home court. Y'all lost the game.
Is that all the Chappelle thing with
well, some of it, but
Rick James?
The feet weren't on the coffee table, the feet were on the couch. That sounded a little more personal from Kendrick. I think someone has come into his house and ordered DoorDash using his credit card.
And
that was oddly specific.
And it's interesting too because it looks like he has an Olive Garden in his house. If you've ever seen him broadcasting from home,
he's got the throne working.
From your lips to God's ears.
It looks like
awesome.
He has like a corner booth at Olive Garden.
Yeah,
in his kitchen or wherever.
Tour of northern Italy. Yes, please.
I mean,
endless salad bowl. Bring it on.
And with the salad bowl comes bread. You know, I've never been to an Olive Garden.
You're missing
Really?
out.
Come out to Natick. There's one right there.
I don't know if it's been proximity to them that's kept me away so much. as not
One in
wanting-
Avon. We can go. We can hit up IKEA afterward.
Yeah.
I've never been to IKEA.
You're double missing out.
I've been to IKEA. It's impossible to get out of that place. The only worth it to me were the Swedish meatballs at the end.
That's something to do with your mom and dad. But
good call.
When my mom is here for an extended visit,
Yes.
there will be an IKEA trip in there.
She's far more mobile than I would guess because anything where you have to walk around, I don't know if I'm taking both my parents. One, not both.
No.
It's a real Mr. Magoo times 2.
Y'all didn't want to make adjustments and go outside y'all comfort zone, and y'all kept shooting them dumbass 3-point shots because y'all had success doing it because y'all won the championship 2-3 years ago. And all of a sudden, you know what ended up happening? Jason Tatum gets hurt. So guess what? In the crucial game 7, you don't have your partner in crime because y'all decided not to handle business. Take ownership, 0 excuses. I don't want to hear the shit. Philadelphia 76ers kicked y'all ass. They did what they were supposed to do. Y'all didn't do anything, starting from the coaches on down to you. To you, JB. And I love you. I voted you. You finished top 5 in my MVP voting. But y'all...
Well, that's not that big a...
Top 5?
Yeah, I mean, big deal. Of course he finished top 5. Who
You mean
else?
you may pick 4 guys in front of him?
Yeah, that doesn't mean much.
Didn't get it done. Didn't cut the mustard. That's the agenda.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the agenda. Jaylen Brown, probably not a good idea the day after you lose a Game 7 to broadcast yourself live on the internet.
Yeah, despite the rude house guest metaphors, he's right. It is really unseemly to be complaining about the officials after that Game 7, especially when you factor back Game 4 or Game 5. I think it was Game 5 was the really egregious effort. And it, all right, didn't work. Try it again. Doesn't work. Don't change anything up. Can't shoot. Can't make a point. Can't adjust. Won't go into the paint. Can't figure out a way to get in there. And then after all of that, after all of your lackluster performances, to come out and say, the refs screwed us, and Joel Embiid is a flopper.
While that may be true,
he
it
flops,
doesn't matter.
But man, that guy was out there and played like after the questionable first game back. That guy took over,
and he flopped. Then that was the difference in the series, was his flopping. There was some incredibly egregious call that swung the series in the favor of the 76ers. I get it. It's annoying, probably.
Yeah, you got a few calls for sure.
He didn't win the game at the line.
And I know Brown had to guard him one-on-one a lot. But
yeah, no, they finally gave up. And yeah, Jaylen Brown had to guard him. Was it Game 7? It was maybe it was Game 7 where they wound up playing small. They had to.
Well, I think Brown was on him a couple games
for
for long periods of time. So, because you always thought, why is Brown not taking advantage of it? But then they would just double team him, and then someone would be open. It wasn't a very strategically well played series by the Celtics. That's for sure.
They didn't have the personnel to do it. Is probably a better argument.
I don't know if they made proper adjustments. I think that they could have done something to switch things up.
They tried single coverage in one game, then they tried to double him in the next game, and he picked them apart with his passing. All I'm saying is you needed a better big man in this series.
Well, you don't have one, so you have to.
That's
come
my
up
point.
With it.
There's one more thing that Brown said we'll have to get to after we talk to Gary. We can do it a little bit later, but something else that really rubbed me the wrong way.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Gary Washburn will be joining us.
take it day by day.
We are Toucher and Hardy. Gary Washburn is the national NBA writer for the Boston Globe. He is kind enough to join us this morning. Hello, Gary.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's going well. We were playing Sean Grandy at the end of the season, and he pivoted from teasing everyone about it being a gap year and reveling in the success of this team to saying they were playing with house money at the end. Do you agree with that assessment?
No, I think expectations change once you win 56 games and you're the 2 seed and you face the 7 and you go up 3-1. You don't lose a series like that. You become the first Celtic team ever to blow a 3-1 series lead, and you lose to the Sixers in a playoff series for the first time in 44 years and say, oh, well, we weren't supposed to be here anyway. That's a loser's mentality. This is the Celtics, so you don't hang regular season banners and 56 wins in the Garden. So your expectations rose. It's okay to say we had a good regular season, but we didn't get it done in the playoffs. That's okay. We weren't supposed to be here anyway. Nah, I don't buy that mentality.
Right. So what was it? Could they have, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. They didn't have the right personnel to go up against the 76ers with Embiid? Was it the inability to just adjust game plan? What were the factors, in your opinion, that made them lose this series?
I thought the factors were arrogance in terms of, I believe in Game 5, they thought Philadelphia would lay down. I mean, you look at some of the other series, right? You look at New York playing at Atlanta, Game 6. You know, the Hawks should be desperate to get a win, to force a Game 7 winner-take-all at the Garden, and Atlanta basically gave up, right? You look at the other 2 Game 7s with Toronto and with Orlando, both of them kind of took a step back and said, okay, we're done. We've given all we can give. And I truly think the Celtics thought Philadelphia was going to do that same thing, and that was, in a sense, understandable because Philadelphia hadn't shown that it was really, really ready to fight. They had lost 2 previous games by 32 points, but you let them in the game and you give up that third quarter lead and suddenly everything changes. Embiid finds himself, and then you go back for Game 6, and I thought that's when they lost the series, guys. No adjustments for Game 6. We'll just hit more shots. And when that didn't work, and then Tatum gets hurt, and suddenly Embiid finds himself, and so does Maxey, you have a real problem on your hands. And they've never been able to guard Tyrese Maxey during his time in the league. And they acted as if they had never played against Joel Embiid. And this team's had great success against Embiid in the past, but that was also with mostly Al Horford guarding him. And Keita just couldn't prove capable of staying on the floor. Vucevic, that ended up being a kind of a disastrous trade on the floor. So everything, all the elements worked into them getting eliminated.
So, Gary, you seem to be one of the few guys that's willing to ask Mazzulla about the three-point shooting, which he says he doesn't want to talk about anymore. But one of the answers he gave referenced the strength of the roster. Did you take that almost as like a backhanded comment about the roster? He did tons with it during the regular season, but almost as though it's like, well, what else do you want me to do with this collection of guys? Of course, we had to keep shooting threes.
I do think that was one of the reasons, but I also think they designed their roster to add shooters, to try to make three-pointers, to try to play this style. You don't have a space-eating big who can get you easy buckets. This team does not get easy points. It doesn't get to the free throw line. Jaylen and Jason are more, apt to take jumpers than to attack the rim. And there's been times Jaylen has attacked the rim and gotten, 10 free throws in a game, but not often, especially not in this playoff series. But I think if you're going to play this style, guys, you got to have elite shooters. And what happened this year is they didn't really have elite shooters. You had Peyton Pritchard. Derek White had a poor shooting year. Sam Hauser was streaky. Jason would like to fancy himself as a three-point shooter. but he's shooting 34%. Last year, he shot 32% in his return. He's a below average three-point shooter, although the shot looks pretty. And then Jaylen's never been a high-level three-point shooter either. So you're asking those guys to make threes when they're top. I think they were top 8 or 9 this year on percentage, and number 1 or 2 or something on attempts. So they're taking a lot, but they're not necessarily as efficient as you'd like, especially when that's your primary way to score. And as we saw in the Philadelphia series, they just missed them. 13 for 49 in one game, 13 for 50 in another. I mean, it's just embarrassing. You got to do something else, especially that Philadelphia game, the game 7. I feel like if Peyton Pritchard hits that side corner 3 and they go up 2, that shifts everything. Because Philly was really feeling, they were blowing that game. Philly hit 4 shots in the fourth quarter, and 2 of those were the maxi layups. So they were ready to be beaten. The Celtics just couldn't hit a shot.
So now, after the dust settles, what does Brad Stevens do? He's got 2 options. One, he can make a really big trade to flip over the roster, or he can, pick around the edges while staying under the luxury tax. Which way do you think he's going to go?
I think they've got to take advantage of this Tatum Brown window because, in my opinion, if you win one title with this, that's okay. That's, to me, you got to win 2 titles at least with this iteration of Tatum and Brown. That makes their partnership like, yeah, this was worth it. 1, because the biggest regret from the Garnett, Pierce, Allen was they only won 1 title and they blew a game 7 in another. If that group wins 2 titles in 5 years, then they go down in history. So I think Tatum and Brown, you got to get another title out of this group. So I think you've got to make the necessary changes and additions to go for it next year because they're not getting any younger, and this league is getting younger and it's getting better. And this draft is coming up, and you got a bunch of guys coming into this league, and you got the Cooper Flags, and you got the Banzas, you got all these guys coming in, and, it's going to be where the Celtics are going to have to flip this over eventually. So you got to take advantage. So I don't think they move Jaylen Brown, but I do think they consider everybody else but Jason and Jaylen getting a legitimate big man, getting more athletic. I think we saw in this series when they played against guys like Maxey and Edgecombe, they did not have the athleticism to compete with those guys.
Is Peyton Pritchard on the table, do you think? It seemed to be he would be the most desirable trade piece.
No, I don't think so. He's a complete bargain at his I think he's done everything he's asked. I think Derek White's a guy they might consider. Do you trade, Derek will be 32 this summer. Do you trade high on Derek? Do you anticipate that he'll get it back maybe next year and he'll become a better offensive player because his struggles really impacted the team throughout the season. And if he hits more shots, they might win 60 games, right? They might have a shot at the number 1 seed. As we saw, getting that number 1 seed probably makes all the difference in whether they're in the playoffs now because they faced Orlando instead of Philadelphia, and then they'd be facing Cleveland. So their whole path would have been different if they win a couple of more ball games. So I think Derek White's someone they consider, maybe Sam Hauser, because I think you have to change. I don't think you can do the 3-point, the run and shoot thing again with the 3-pointers. I think you've got to have another interior scorer. Philadelphia did not fear anything in the paint that the Celtics brought. And as we saw last night, the Knicks just pounded the Sixers in the paint and, beat them by 40.
All right, what can you take us through what you know about the decision for Tatum not to play?
I think Tatum tweaked something in Game 6, but I think he told Joe, "Hey, I can play. I'm good. Let me just get a day of rest." I think he came to the arena Saturday morning and felt some soreness, and the team said, "You know what? This might be a byproduct of overcompensation for the Achilles. You're not going to play." And I don't think it was in his hands. I don't think Jason liked missing Game 7, and I know people are a little upset that he was kind of joking with Embiid after the game. And no one on that team seemed particularly broken up about this loss, and that was kind of mystifying. That we had a good season, and hey, Joe was kind of, hey, what else do you want me to do here? They blew this series, let's be honest. Philadelphia came back and won, but they blew this series with no Game 6 adjustments after blowing Game 5, and then that starting lineup in Game 7. So there was a lot of things that the Celtics did wrong. But with Tatum, I think it was their decision, the organization, to pull him out and not risk it, give him a couple of days off, and maybe he might have come back for a Game 2 against the Knicks.
You just brought it up briefly, Gary, and we're almost out of time, but nothing more mystifying than that starting lineup in Game 7. My jaw was on the floor when I saw what was out there. What did you think when it was happening?
I thought it was a gesture of like, hey, let's mix it up. Let's try to confuse Philadelphia. But Philadelphia was not confused, and it ended up going down 17-6, and you lost the game by 9. So you blew the game in the first quarter. That was a game, guys, that they could not fall behind by 15 points. They had to stay close and try to nip it at the end. And they ended up almost doing that, but they chased the whole way. Like, that starting lineup pretty much blew them the game because they couldn't score. None of the guys, the 6 guys he put in, hit a basket. And that's just not playing them earlier, not giving them reps, not going to the depth that got you there. And I don't know why the rotation was tightened so much, but I think that Mazzulla's got to go back in the offseason, and him and Brad have to do some serious, hard conversations about playoff coaching, because this is the third time in 4 years that Mazzulla's gotten out coached in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that Philadelphia was very confused. They said, when did we revert to the G League? I don't understand what's going on here.
Confused that they didn't know who a couple of those guys were. Yeah,
we're so much more talented than the people they put on the court. I don't know how to handle this. I'm blowing by these guys so easily. It's a very strange, interesting strategy. All right, Gary, great stuff. Love to talk to you as the offseason unfolds. Gary's the best. Read all his stuff in the Boston Globe, including the article about the window for Jaylen and Jason that he had mentioned. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, guys.
All right, appreciate it. Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe. We'll be back in just a moment. changed. It's the same thing over and over and over and over. It's just never good. It wasn't funny the first time.
Toucher and Hardy, mornings on the Sports Hub.
Skills. We are Toucher and Hardy. Yesterday, Roman Anthony hurt his wrist, his right wrist. He had a check swing where he hurt his wrist. The X-rays were negative. He is in Boston today. He'll be coming to Boston today to get an MRI and see Dr. Matthew Liebman, the team's hand specialist. Do you think if you go see Dr. Matthew Liebman, his office is adorned with Red Sox memorabilia?
I think yes. I think specifically he works for the team, yes.
Well, no, I don't. You don't think he has his own practice? He's the hand specialist that only works with the Sox. There's no one else that he works with?
I was reading this morning at the team hand specialist. That's the way it was.
Yeah, so they probably have a guy that they go to who specializes in hands. I don't think that he makes a living. He got a doctorate in that specific specialty and only works with the Boston Red Sox.
Well, if you put it that way, it sounds kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like what? So like once a year he has a patient?
That's it?
Yeah, I listen to this guy. First of all, he's never been anywhere.
He's got a very specialized practice.
Never been anywhere? Anywhere?
Well, you've never been to a doctor's office where they have a bunch of stuff hanging around the teams and it's because someone from the team goes there? It's like the sketchy sandwich shop that was in a weird neighborhood in Newton.
No, I thought that was Needham.
No, that was in Newton.
Okay.
And they gave me very strange looks. Like, why are you in here?
What was the place in Needham we kept going by that was
I don't know,
never
but
open?
why don't you change the subject again? So I was in there, and they would all stare at me, and I was... And then they had all this Euclid stuff up. Like, apparently Euclid had been in there once, and ever since that day, they didn't want anyone else to come in there again.
Again, the Uke shop.
Oh, was that the Eagle Deli?
No. Why would I say the Eagle Deli was in a weird neighborhood? The Eagle Deli's in.
Okay, I was just trying to remember.
You just keep stepping in it.
No, there was a Man versus Food where Euclid showed up at this new.
Yeah, that was Eagle Deli. Okay. What do you do? You're reminding me too much of my father. Stop.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Turn on the TV. I want to watch Fox News.
There it is.
You do all the research. He does all the research required that I don't have time to do. He studies it, is what he said.
You did say at the beginning of the show you're going to have a short fuse, so I did step in, and my apologies.
I don't know if that was a short fuse. Was it, Hardy?
A little bit.
He irritated you a little quicker than normal. He's irritating, and you were right to be irritated, but it happened quickly.
Yeah. It's
quicker.
Fair enough. My father is in town for a long time. It's a lot.
What's tomorrow? I know you got the game today.
Nothing. Tomorrow they're gone. Tomorrow they're gone for the day.
Oh, that's right. So
you got down to Rhode
It's
Island.
really Thursdays. The only day you got to fill.
Right, and that's not difficult. It's just we went 3 days without an argument, and then yesterday happened.
Yeah.
Now nothing was terrible, but it's just I think I unpeeled a little bit of the onion and found out that my father says things almost as a defense mechanism, because I used to just think he was way smarter than me and like knew way more about stuff than I did, but his argument was so unnecessary and parroting. He was just parroting.
Yeah, he's just ripping from the
ripping
Breitbart
from
headline.
well, not even. He was just like talking points and like weird like little jargon that he was just throwing out. And then he went back to like he was just exhausted by the even the notion of having this conversation with me because he was so much better informed than I am. And then I started thinking, well, there's a lot of people that I don't even know what he believes. I honestly don't. It's never gotten that far. It's just this sanctimonious, better than me, smarter than me thing that he has. And it usually revolves around politics, which we don't talk about. How often I talk about politics in almost a societal way. I don't talk about the issues of the day.
And like your position on them. No, we don't do that.
No. And so like it's not hard for me not to talk about politics at all. If you weren't listening at the beginning of the show, all that happened was I saw the market had gone down almost a couple points, and then like an idiot, I said something must have happened. So I went to the New York Times, and the first thing on the New York Times was United Arab Emirates claim attack from Iran, with drone attack from Iran or something. And I made the rookie mistake of reading that aloud.
He did not like the wording of that headline.
And it wasn't that I editorialized or I said anything. I literally read the headline, and that was it. It didn't have Trump's name in it. It didn't have anything. It's just that they claimed, and he got fit to be tied that about the egregious error of saying claimed. And then when you think, what's bothering me is that it was such a dumb thing for him to say. Like, he doesn't know. First of all, he didn't know that it was from the New York Times. Second of all, like, he doesn't know that they have to get, and then it said that Iran hadn't confirmed that they're the ones that attacked. So he doesn't understand that it's not like that particular article is not the one to be pointing at saying, look at the way they're positioning this. This is just, they needed it verified. Like, it wasn't verified yet. So you like your news unverified? Like, and that, how is that even a political statement? It's just that the United Arab Emirates were attacked by allegedly attacked by Iran. Not that they were allegedly attacked, that the attack was allegedly from Iran.
It's just irritating, much like you're irritated by John. It's irritating for someone to say anything about the news or about current events who hasn't done the research. He's done the research. You haven't.
No, I haven't.
So when you,
as a matter of fact,
he's proud of
when
that.
you start babbling your BS,
which is reading a innocuous, benign headline,
and
from
he's
the
forced
New York
to
Times.
suffer through it, he's going to snap. I'm with him. I want him in here on Thursday.
All right, so there's all these like losers that go to Newton Center to protest on Saturdays. Like, this is like 98% Democrat. Like, I don't know what you're protesting Trump. How brave? Like, on the streets of Newton in Massachusetts. That's going to swing the election. And so
Well, you're going to change people's minds.
So obviously this is a fool's errand, right? But whatever. But my dad goes, they're suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm just like you're just saying, like, you're so uninteresting. Like, call them names, but don't just call them. We're all calling them names.
Why don't you research what the Trump derangement syndrome is, and that way you'll be more qualified to debate him on that.
Okay,
subject.
I'll go to True Social and throw a dart at one of the posts and see if I can find it. No, I saw that when Rob Reiner died. That's why he said he died while he was murdered, was Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do know what that is. It's just like, you couldn't have just said, like, what losers are these pieces of garbage. You had to say Trump derangement syndrome, which is just like you're imitating a guy on TV. A very unclever use of words. I would have taken politically incorrect words as well over that. I would have taken anything.
Actually enjoyed those.
Yeah, like slow or something. You'd say
Yeah,
something like I would have taken that 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. He's bothering me. All right. So
is he listening?
There's no way he's up. He sleeps 24. He sleeps 20 hours a day. There's no way he's up. All right. Well, and if he is, he knows he's bothering me. That's all. I mean, what are you going to do?
Have you ever said something about him that he actually heard and brought to your attention later?
I'm not of the mind that he listens to this show. My mother does. I don't think he does.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to have. I do talk for a living. He seems to have a very little opinion of that. I've made a lot of money talking.
Yeah.
But to him, the talk is cheap.
Whenever you talk, you sound like an idiot.
Yeah, you don't talk about interesting stuff.
No,
that's your problem.
That's kind of the deal. All right, We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hook.
after a 5-4 win in Detroit last night in the opener of a 3-game series. Peyton Tolley allowed 2 unearned runs in 7 innings while striking out 8, and then Jaron Duran's 3-run homer highlighted a 5-run top of the 7th for the win. Giovanni Moran will start against the Tigers tonight as an opener for Brian Bayo. Also, the Sox have lost Roman Anthony, who left after hurting his right hand or wrist taking a swing last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good feeling. It's not. I don't want to be in this situation. Nobody ever wants to be hurt, but that's just the way it's gone. So just got to deal with it, get through it, and get back out there as soon as I can.
He will fly back to Boston today to get looked at by a specialist after imaging came back negative after the game. Tigers also down a big piece of their roster. Lefty ace Tarek Skubal out at least 2 months. He needs elbow surgery. At the NBA playoffs, the Knicks embarrassed Philadelphia 137-98 in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series last night at Madison Square Garden. Minnesota then produced a big upset, 104-102 in San Antonio in Game 1 there. Orlando has fired head coach Jamal Mosley. Dallas has hired former Toronto championship-winning executive Masai Ujiri. And at the NHL playoffs, Carolina beat Philadelphia in Game 1, 3-2 in overtime. Las Vegas leads Anaheim 1-9 after a 3-1 win late last night. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. If you're attending the Massachusetts Apartment Association Expo this Thursday at Heinz Convention Center, stop by booth 505 and say hello to our guys at Blue Sky. Visit goblusky.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
The Sports Hub. 3 legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub.
Passing it down from generation to generation. They enjoy every second, especially of that first one that takes about an hour for anything to happen.
Yeah, my kids have seen about 10 minutes of Star Wars before they tapped out.
Yes. So we thought, what a great way to honor this generational legacy now of Star Wars on yesterday, what would have been May the 4th be with you. We'll do it today, and we're going to bring in everyone that we could think of who also loves and celebrates the franchise as much as we do here by having them portray different characters from the sagas, and it will be your job, John and Fred. It's very, very difficult to identify the voices and the characters they are portraying.
All right.
I guess you will get all of these on the first guess.
Okay, so the reason, the name of the game is that you have picked these people to play specific characters for a reason.
That is correct.
Right.
So that will be your hint in an otherwise impossible game.
All right.
To figure out.
It's not enough to recognize the voices.
No, you have to recognize both the voice and the character they are portraying. Now, we just put out a bunch of requests and recorded some of them, physically ourselves. Others were just sent back to us, and when they came back to us, they were very simple sounding. For instance,
bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop, bomp, bomp.
And that's all we got back from this person. Now, that's the toughest one, I think.
Okay, so
bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop, bomp, bomp.
All right, so that's R2-D2.
Correct.
Of course.
Now, who would we ask to portray R2-D2?
Brian Robb.
See, that would have been genius if it was actually Brian Robb.
It's not Brian Robb.
Oh, Brian Robb would have been the choice.
Rob bought 2000. Yeah, remember that.
I think short in stature.
Did you use Reese for R2-D2?
Bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop.
All right.
So there you go.
So the idea,
I like this game already.
So the idea is that Reese was R2-D2, not Yoda.
Right.
Reese was R2-D2
Right.
because R2-D2 is very small. All right. I understand.
Got it.
So moving on now. Identify both the speaker and the character they are portraying. Here we go. Here's number one.
Well, that's Jay Stu.
I mean, yes, very much Jay Stu.
But who's he?
That's Chewbacca.
Okay.
Oh, you want to hear it again before you make your final decision, Fred?
That's Jay Stu is Chewbacca.
Jay Stu is Chewbacca.
That is correct.
Bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop.
That's obvious. That's obvious. It's not what I'm saying is it's not obvious, but it's oddly effective.
Now, Jay Stu recorded that during the Zolak and Bertrand show, and they could actually hear him doing it in the background while the show is on the air. Please enjoy this.
I wonder how much he regrets from a year ago. That whole handling of the beginning of the Denver stuff.
I don't know what kind of promo.
Is there someone dying? Is there a ghost?
Jimmy's cutting something over there.
What is happening in there?
Jimmy who?
Can the listeners hear that? Please tell me they can hear
I hear
that.
moaning.
Is there a way to spy on that?
It sounds. Is he okay?
Is he doing a bit? What is he doing in there? Is he unwell?
What's his problem? Maybe he's listening to cats getting choked out.
That's not what a cat sounds like when you choke them out. It sounds like sweet silence. Shh. Shh. I'm a god.
Very good, gentlemen. You're 1 for 1.
I don't know why that worked so well. That's really good for Jay Stu. It's excellent.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
Han, Mabuki, Kili, Kalia, Kuka.
All right, well, that's Sarge.
I'm going to say Java.
Hold on. Give it another one here.
No, he's not fat.
Gino, Waba, Muba, Outmion, Nucha, Jedi.
Oh, it could be Greedo.
I don't know anything about Star Wars. That's the problem. Like, I really don't. All right, so that's Sarge.
Yes.
And he's talking. Is that Greedo from the
Greedo or Java? I'll say Java. You can say Greedo. See if we get
Greedo,
it.
Fred?
Who is that?
That is Java.
Yeah.
Gino, Waba, Muba, Outmion, Nucha, Jedi.
I'm angry you didn't use Sarge the way I wanted.
So Sarge exemplifies Jabba the Hutt to you.
No, we just thought it would be fun. He's got the voice for it. He's got the pipes.
Well, wouldn't that be Darth Vader? Would be the guy.
I
with the
don't want
pipes.
you to lean too hard into the person portraying the character, especially for this next one. I want you to just leave that aside for a moment.
Okay, very good. Okay.
All right, here we go. You're 1 for 2.
Help me, oh Bucky Wonk Kinkonko.
Hang on. I think I have this one.
All right, don't say anything. Play it again, because this is the hardest game I'm not lying. This is the hardest game we might have ever played.
I'm 2 for 2. That's all I know.
Usually these games, you guys said this was going to be easy. I know the point's not me getting it right, but let me hear it again.
I'll give you another line from the same character.
Aren't you a little short?
Oh.
For a storm trooper? Hello.
Well, obviously that's guy from Machine, and I'm taking that's Han Solo.
No, it's Princess Leia. It's Princess Leia, Fred.
Oh,
You probably would have gotten him with this one.
Well, someone and get rid of this big walking carpet out of my way.
It's when Princess Leia is upset with
I still would
Chewbacca
have thought
being
that
in
was
it.
Han Solo.
No.
Well, I mean, they do hook up.
They do.
All right. This is probably...
Is he the one that took the longest to get back?
I think that was the toughest one to nail down.
Nick actually recorded him like on Friday. He was actually really good about it. They got him.
Oh, okay.
Did he go see the guy from Machine?
No. He was able to set things up remotely now.
No, the toughest one to nail down was Sarge. Sarge had a lot of stuff on his plate.
Well, he had WrestleMania. Han, Mabuki, Kili, Kalia, Kuka.
Well, I know Esoteric isn't one because he's complaining that he wasn't invited.
Okay.
He just texted me. Said it was
too
an
bad.
outrage that he was not included in this bit.
Of anybody that we know, there's no bigger Star Wars fan than Esoteric.
Oh, boy. No kidding.
All right, let's try this one.
Well, that's Darth Vader.
Right.
Do you know who this is?
I need to hear it again.
No, I am not your father.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Is that Joe Murray?
Ah!
The breathing.
Bleep, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, the breathing. It's the breathing.
Well
I
done.
get it. Yeah,
Well done.
I understand.
Okay. You're doing well. This one will test you.
Okay.
Cody Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yawa.
You want another one? Here.
I know who it is.
Yub Nub. Yub Nub.
No one else is going to know it but me. Our engineer, Steve.
That's right.
Like an Ewok.
Bleep, bloop, bloop.
Cody Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yawa. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yacha. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that.
Steve Conti, engineer. Former Jiggly Room DJ. Let's see some greenery for the scenery, gentlemen. Tipping is not a city in China.
Just love that Jay Stu was in another room.
Ah! Hey! Hey! Cody Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub.
You know, out of context, you just hearing these things, awful. Star Wars is really not that great. Empire Strikes Back is a good film. The first two,
Yeah.
a lot of nonsense. A lot of nonsense.
All right.
Unfortunately, no one knows who Steve is. But
No.
that was a very good one. Cody Cha Tagoo.
Cody Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yawa. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yacha. Hallelujah.
He didn't even need the lyrics. He just
No, you got
came off
right.
the top of his
We
head.
could have said anything. I would have not known.
All right. Take your time with this one.
The dark side of the The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Well, that's Rick. Is he the Emperor guy?
Bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop.
But it wasn't easy.
Oh.
For any of us.
Read all of that?
Yeah.
I am defenseless.
Oh, boy. That's a mouthful of reading.
A lot of words on this page.
There's 2 paragraphs of jiggly jangly symbols, otherwise known as words. Too many words for me to read. I knew I shouldn't have come in today. Oof. Why'd you have to catch me? Note to self. Stay on the 11 o'clock arrival time. Avoid confrontation.
All right, he had a lot of words to read. Let's let him get through this one.
Read all of that?
Yeah.
I am defenseless. Take your weapon. Strike me down with all your hatred, and your journey toward the dark side will be complete.
Why didn't I retire when I had the chance?
It's really a shame we couldn't use this one.
Just defeat in the man's voice.
Cody Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub.
All right, well, good job. Very good.
Thank you once again, and apologies to Zolak and Bertrand.
I wonder how much he regrets from a year ago. That whole handling of the beginning of the Denver stuff.
I don't know what kind of promo.
It's for Hell in a Cell.
What was this?
It was for Hell in a Cell. Ah. All right, very good. We'll be back in just a moment. Connor Ryan is going to join us to talk about the
Cody
Bruins.
Cha Tagoo, Yub Nub. Cody Cha Tagoo, Yawa. Cody John to do. Hallelujah.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
It's Wallach. Let me tell you.
We're the best friends you can be, my buddy and me.
Now, more of your best morning buddies, Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I actually didn't mind it. But having said that, there will be more conversation to have with Don, how we're going to move forward. But personally, I liked how we handled and especially the players, how they handled the situation all year long.
We are Toucher and Hardy, and it's getting a little lost in the Celtics in a bit to win their series against Philadelphia, but the Bruins lost the night before in TD Garden against Buffalo. Obviously, they lost in Game 6. Not a tremendous game by them in Game 6. Not as bad as the 4 goals they had given up in, what was that, Game 4? So not great. But listen, they were not supposed to be good. That was unlike the Celtics, who were the second seed in the East. That was not a house money situation. The Bruins got into the playoffs, which was exceeding expectations. I think I underestimated how good Buffalo was. Connor Ryan covers the Bruins for Boston.com. Hello, Connor.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. Just talking Bruins with you. And what do you think, when you look back at this year, do you think that the Bruins exceeded expectations, and how disappointed would you be as a fan that they had lost that series?
Yeah, I think they definitely exceeded expectations considering where they were to start this season, right? Where you feel like you had, all right, David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy, but you had a lot of questions as to where else you were getting your offense from. Was Morgan Geekie going to be a guy that could sustain what was his breakout year the year before? Was Jeremy Swayman going to return to form? And you had a new head coach. You had questions over, was there going to be buy-in? And I think you saw a team that bought into what Marco Sturm was preaching as far as getting back to being a more competitive club. You had obviously Jeremy Swayman bounce back, which I think was the biggest development. It's the main reason why you were even in the playoffs. So I think all things considered, they exceed expectations, put themselves in a good spot moving forward. I think you saw a lot of development from the younger players. You now have James Higgins in the mix. You've got a lot of players in the prospect pipeline that had really strong years, whether it's that's in college or below that. So I think you're in a pretty good spot if you're a Bruins fan as far as what they can do to build towards that. But losing to Buffalo, I think, was also a little bit of a reminder that even if you're maybe on the right track and maybe you're a season ahead of schedule, maybe from where we thought they might be, you still have a lot of work to do as far as adding more talent up and down this lineup.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious as to like how much talent, because this was an interesting conversation we've kind of batted around a little bit this season. I heard it again recently about like when you talk about the core of the team and like how many actual good players that they have. The number is startlingly low when you really get down to it. How much talent do you think they need to add to start to truly become to create that, they were in the postseason, but to be a real threat and, something approaching an upper echelon team? How much do they need to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the disparity of the talent gap between, let's say, Boston and just Buffalo, right? Where, they've got the Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch, Dahlin, some of the guys that are the headliners to that group. But you look further down their lineup where Josh Doan is the guy that's out racing McAvoy and Pastrnak. You've got Zach Benson, who's, a pain to deal with, and he's a great skater and can kind of make something out of nothing. They've got so many guys all across that lineup that can pull on the rope and can, develop and give you offense in the playoffs, and the Bruins just didn't really have that. You had David Pastrnak, who had an up-and-down series, but at least produced. But other than that, you had, Morgan Geekie, his offense dried up. Pavel Zacha has 2 goals in 31 games. I think if you're the Bruins, yes, you can maybe bank on guys like Minton developing further. Hagen's a full year in the NHL. You're going to get more offense from him, but I think this team probably needs at least another 2 impact forwards, and I think you desperately need some sort of top 4 defenseman, whether that's a guy you draft in the system, which you might get from that Toronto pick if you have some fortune falling your way later on tonight, or trying to go out in free agency, trade, and add just another guy to put on that blue line. I think that's an underrated area of need for this group.
Yeah. While we're talking about it, explain the ins and outs of the draft lottery tonight. The Bruins have the Toronto's #1 draft pick, but it's protected, correct?
Yes, it's top 5 protected. As of right now, the Bruins have a 58% chance of having that pick if it drops to either the 6th or the 7th overall pick, as I think the Bruins saw last year where they had the 5th best odds, and that dropped to number 7 overall. You still got James Higgins out of it, but if you're the Bruins, you're hoping that pick falls. And if you're able to get that first-round pick for the Bruins, it kind of sets the table for what Don Sweeney can do this offseason. You could either package that in a deal if you wanted to, but if you wanted to keep that pick, especially when you look at this draft, there's a lot of really, really talented defenseman prospects in the top 10 this year. And whether you're looking for your future top 4 defenseman on the right side, where there's obviously an area of need, or even on the left side, if you're looking for the eventual Hampus Lindholm replacement, there should be a lot of guys at that 6th or 7th overall pick that could be in the NHL either by 2 years from now, or there could be a guy, Albert Smits, who's like an 18-year-old player from Latvia who's playing 24 minutes over in Europe right now. He could be a guy that's in the lineup as soon as this year. So,
did you say Albert Smith from Latvia? Is that what you just
Albert
said?
Smits.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Well,
I thought he said Smith too. I'm like, wow.
Congrats to you for being able to pronounce that Latvian name. I don't know how you.
It's like Bob Johnson. You remember him? He's from
Norway.
Kenya.
Yeah, as we all know. Yeah, he's got a little accent over the Smiths, so I guess that works.
He's got umlauts, is what you're saying?
It's something like that. Yeah. So, but he's a guy that if you're able to draft him, he could be in the lineup as soon as next year. And if you're looking just to add some talent to your blue line, that could work out. So if you're Bruins fans, especially, you're hoping that pick falls to you, because otherwise it's probably going to get transferred to a 2028 first round pick, and that doesn't really fit as far as your timeline if you're trying to max out this current core that you have right now.
How does Don Sweeney bring in free agents, given the cap space he has?
Yeah, well, there's not too many high-end free agents out there. I think when you look at the way the cap has jumped up in the NHL the last couple of years, there's been a lot of guys who haven't even hit the market or they've already re-signed with their teams. The Bruins have a little over $16 million in cap space. Granted, they only have 2 unrestricted free agents, so it's not like they have to allocate a lot of that towards re-upping players unless they want to bring back Victor Arvidsson. But as far as options out there, you could pony up a lot of money to sign a player like Alex Tuck with Buffalo, who's obviously had a really good playoff run. He is 30 years old, and that's probably going to be a 7-year contract at $10 million per year. So
for that guy? Oh, my God.
Yeah,
all right.
There's not a lot of guys out there. If you look at defense, there's Rasmus Anderson, who is a top 4 defenseman. The Bruins were interested in him before he got traded to Vegas. But he's, again, 29-year-old defenseman that you're probably paying 7 years, $9 million at least. So there's options out there, but there's not a lot that I think if you signed it, does it fit a need? Does it help you out for next year, the year after that? I think it does, but that's a contract that could age poorly. And as you're trying to obviously help out this current core, but build a sustainable group in the years ahead as you start incorporating these younger players, that's where those contracts can get pretty tricky.
I guess I would lean toward the longer term look at that, Connor, because the core is small enough right now to where I'm not concerned about like adding to them. You just need to add, period. And then it becomes like a philosophical debate. It's like, all right, well, do you want to get the goal scoring? Do you want to build from the blue line out? Do you want to shore things up defensively first? There are multiple needs. So I guess you can probably answer it with just how long term do you want to do this? Do you want to go shorter term or do you want to go longer term?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fascinating to see what the Bruins do this offseason as far as towing that line where, they could kind of just be status quo and wait for these younger players to develop. But you also have, David Pastrnak and Nikita Zadorov mentioning like the urgency of like where their window is now. Now that falls on the Bruins to be smart as far as what's the better long-term plan. Is it just hold steady, wait for guys like Higgins to develop and, Dean Letourneau, and if you get this Toronto pick, you could get a really good prospect there. Problem is, if you just kind of hold pat and wait for those guys to develop into legitimate impact players, it may not be until, Higgins is 23, 24, and then David Pasternak's 35, right? So I think for them, it's determining whether you wait things out, whether you try to do a bit of both, where you've got so many prospects added to your system now and a lot more draft picks. Could you package some of those to add an impact player, right? Can you trade a few firsts and Dean Letourneau for Robert Thomas, who's a guy who's been linked to them before, who is 26 years old and kind of fits the bill where he can help you out right now, obviously. He's a guy that you put in with David Pastrnak. He's going to have 85 points for the next 5-6 years, but also he can help you out, 5 years down the line as well. So I think the Bruins have to try to toe that line between, bringing in these younger players while also maybe cashing in some of those assets if a deal can be made. But again, that's easier said than done.
Okay, let's take a macro look at the competition. The Bruins were in the playoffs, but that division that they're in is very good, and it doesn't look to be getting any worse. Like, how realistic is it for the Bruins to think they'll make the playoffs next season, given just not how their team is, but the progress of the other teams in their division and conference?
Yeah, Marco Sturm even said that on Sunday, as far as they're not going to be a surprise team, but also you look at across the Atlantic where you feel like Montreal is not going anywhere with the young core that they have. Buffalo, now that they finally have broken through, I think their average age is 26 years old, right? They've got so many young players all across that lineup that are only going to get better. Like Zach Benson's a third-line player, and he's going to be bothering the Bruins and pestering them for the next 5+ years, you imagine, there in Buffalo. So those are already two teams. I think you look at Florida, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for them last year. Alex Barkov blows out his knee in training camp. He had so many injuries. You have to imagine they're going to be back in the mix. Toronto might be in tough shape. Ottawa's a team that has the talent but hasn't really put it all together, even though they made the playoffs late. But no, I agree. If you're the Bruins, and I think you just operate with the assumption of staying status quo, that you're at least back to being a respectable roster, which I think is what Marco Sturm wanted them to do. I think you run the risk of being a team like the Washington Capitals, who last year made the playoffs kind of out of nowhere, and people thought they were had some staying power because they had some new faces, some younger players, but then they kind of hit some aggression. Their shooting luck kind of ran out, and a lot of other teams in the Metro caught up to them, like you saw this year with teams like Philadelphia, who also probably aren't going away anytime soon. So I think if you're the Bruins, you have to, I think, operate with that urgency, not because you're also trying to surround guys like David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy with talent, but also if you don't make those upgrades, you run the risk of kind of just getting pushed to the wayside, especially in the Atlantic.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you, Rick actually texted me about this. If you look at that division and conference, it's just, it looks tough. It looks like, because the Red Wings should have been better. Like the Red Wings should have been way better, and they had those injuries. I know Larkin was hurt. Like, it just seems like, any of these teams could take a huge leap next season, and it's going to be very tricky for the Bruins to kind of manage a rebuild. But like Connor had alluded to, like with, players that are in their primes, kind of not selling completely out. You understand what I'm saying? Like making the playoffs this season kind of maybe pushed the timeline a little bit in terms of expectations, at least for me. And I'm part of the fan base. So, because, now if they don't make the playoffs next year, it looks like it's like a resounding failure. And that's very tough because it just happens that they're in a conference with a lot of very good teams. And some teams, as Connor just said, on the come. So that's going to be a difficult task. Well, something to worry about in the offseason, Connor. We enjoy that. Connor Ryan, appreciate everything. I'd like to talk to you around the draft and everything else if we could. Read him in Boston.com. Thank you, Connor.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Rick made a good point. He texted me. He said that look at who's in the division and conference. And it's not only the Bruins aren't operating in a vacuum, which is a good way to look at it, is that like, and that's maybe why the Celtics thing has to be so disappointing, is because like this was a really good chance. This was like a really good chance to kind of sneak into the finals on a year maybe where the division and the conference were, not the division, it doesn't matter. The conference was down and you kind of blew that opportunity. And then if you look at the East, how much better that could get. It's not the same kind. It's not as bad as it is for the Bruins, but
no.
But then again, the Bruins aren't in their championship window either. But as Grandy said, we can pivot now to it was house money with the Celtics.
Do you have room for more fandom between this and your new fandom of the Red Sox? I mean, I don't want you overly invested.
It's like after 20 years here, I'm fully ingrained. I'm going full fanboy on everyone.
You can start going on duck boat tours and going to cheers and all the things that all the things that the locals do.
I walked the Freedom Trail a little bit yesterday. I know where it is and where it runs through. I know exactly where it is. I could get on it lickety split.
Castle Island, some fries, vinegar, no vinegar.
You have to have them with the vinegar, or don't. They're great either way. That's the way that it goes. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox won in Detroit last night, 5-4.
Dutcher and Hardy, not Gary Tangway, has emailed in, and he has said, ask Connor Ryan if he wants to guest lecture at my class on keeping the Boston accent alive. Love it. Gare Bear out.
Oh.
I saw a video that had 25 million views on YouTube. It was from Condé Nast Traveler. And it was a 5-minute video. I made it through a minute. And it was, they were going around to the people from all 50 states speaking of that state's accent. And you know what? None of them had accents. They just described the state's accent.
come on.
And it was infuriating. So Condé Nast Traveler has grifted 25 million people because there's no way that anyone saw that. Because then I read like a couple comments and they were like, everyone, I'm from another country and I heard one accent and it's just accent.
Yeah,
it's just the way people talk. Like there's Southern, basically it was Southern and non-Southern. There was people with Southern accents and people with no Southern accent. So it was just like someone for Vermont was like, we're farmers in Vermont. So we say like, and then it was just some syllable. Which is like, we say, ugh, or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell kind of accent is that?
We say, yeah.
And then they had a guy from Chicago on. It was like a black gay guy from Chicago, and he just sounded like a gay guy. Like
It just sounded fabulous.
Yeah, exactly. Like and he's like, I don't think he said, some people think there's a Chicago accent, but I don't think there is. Oh, no, there most certainly is. That whole Da Bears sketch was based on, the whole premise was the Chicago accent. That was really the meta joke in it, was the Chicago accent. It was, YouTube's a real hit or miss. I'm starting to find, except for my ASMR, I'm starting to get away from that.
What's the most accentless region that you know of or have encountered?
Well, the East Coast is a petri dish of accents because as I've gotten older, I mean, even Pennsylvania's got like 3 of them.
Yeah.
So they're all over here. The South is just one big pile of garbage, and anyone that tells you that they're speaking differently is out of their mind. They all sound the same. And there's a very distinctive California accent. Get knees that like kind of, you'll know it if you hear it. And then there's Midwest, West Coast, a million regional dialects in the Northeast, and then there's Southern. So that's about it.
You get, and I only bring it up because I have noticed in speaking to my wife's family, Nebraska, you get into those, is it technically Midwest still, or is it like plain states? But Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, you can't go too far north because then you start getting like Minnesota, Wisconsin accents.
Oh, yes.
But that like Colorado, I would count in that.
Yeah, Minnesota.
There's nothing there. There's nothing in Nebraska. There's nothing in, I would say, even Colorado for the most part. If you're born and raised there, you just don't have an accent.
Yeah, that's what the lady from Colorado said, that it was a Colorado accent. That there's no accent in Colorado.
And I would agree with that.
But you know what? Is Fargo is the accent they use in Fargo real, or is that made up for the movie?
It's leaned heavily into for the movie. It's more of, because
that's like
kind of a bastardization of the Minnesota, like that upper Midwestern accent.
Because that's highly different from the Chicago accent.
Yes.
It's like almost a Canadian in nature.
Michigan, I didn't think Michigan had an accent until I lived away from there for 10 years or so.
Yeah,
and then,
Michigan has an accent. It's the Chicago accent. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, people from the Upper Peninsula speak in like clicks and hisses. So
I've heard.
Oh, they're like the Bushmen of the Kalahari. Yeah,
Are they really?
Yeah, you can't understand.
Like it's funny because
Yuppies, is that what they call them?
Well, they call us they call Youpers.
Yeah. Youpers, sorry.
They call us trolls.
I see.
Because we're from the lower.
See, you probably had some run-ins with people from the Upper Peninsula. I lived in Michigan for 17 years and never ran into anyone from the Upper Peninsula, so I can't really say. I've just heard stories. That's how far removed the Upper Peninsula is from society.
My dad used to talk about this guy he used to hang around with from the Upper, and they would take, trips up there or just into the, northern lower peninsula. And my dad used to talk about what a great driver he was. They get in the car and it's like, oh, he can really drive. I'm like, can he, Dad? He doesn't hit nobody or nothing? Yeah, he doesn't get all looped up on J&B scotch and then go run into things? Is that what makes a good driver?
So you think
he can draw. You should see him drive. Should I?
Even young, Hardy still had it. Even when he was a kid.
Did your father then tell you how you didn't know anything about driving and that he had done much research into driving that you had not you could not avail yourself of, for you do not have the time?
My sister and I used to talk to each other. It's like, what the hell is he talking about? What makes him such a good driver? It's probably because he doesn't get pulled over.
It's one of those things that it was probably just a fleeting thought that he had in the car, but it stuck with him forever, and he just feels the need to express it.
Yes.
Like he's kind of just being introspective.
We were talking about our grandparents passing. I just thought of this yesterday. I think about my dad every day. Died in 2013. There's something that he said or did that I think about. One of the things was when my mom's father was dying in the hospital. My dad told me and anyone else who would listen, the doctors in Florida told your grandfather that they've never seen a sicker man than him. And it was almost like this point of pride, like he was bragging about it. Like, hey, of all those sick people in Florida, and he would tell me, it's like your grandfather. His doctor said they have never seen anyone as sick as your grandfather. I'm like, are you telling me this to prepare me for his imminent death? Because we're all pretty sure that he's going to die soon. Are you proud of it? It was like he was bragging about it.
It was like a Midwestern toughness. Like he was so sick. Yeah. He was sicker than everyone, but he's alive.
And my grandfather was like a tough guy. Like he ran a tool and die shop in Detroit, but he moved down to Florida, and that's where he stayed, and that's where he got sick. So sick that he was the sickest man in Florida they had ever seen. Huh? Like, great, Dad. What the hell? Why? Why are you telling everybody?
Because, it's my dad can survive. Like,
it wasn't his dad. It was his father-in-law.
Oh, his father-in-law. Oh. Well, I mean, that he's in some way associated with
his dad died, and he barely mentioned it. He said he was dumb for shoveling the snow and giving himself a heart attack.
Dumb. Maybe he felt closer to his ex-father-in-law.
No.
Okay.
That wasn't the case either. It was just
a no-go.
No, that wasn't it either.
Okay.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, the mysteries.
The mysteries they are piling up. But yes, the Upper Peninsula, it's like Alaska outside of Anchorage, and the Upper Peninsula are like the only foreign territories in the United States anymore, right? Like where no one really knows what's going on. There's the out, it's.
Oh, you know more about what's going on the smaller islands of Hawaii than you do of what's going on in the Upper Peninsula.
Oh, absolutely.
Michigan. Like Iron Mountain, Michigan. I've never been there. I don't think you're allowed to go.
Interesting.
Like you're really far removed from society up there. Like there's very few places, certainly in North America, that you can, or in the United States, that you can go and be really off the grid.
I'm trying to think of
because it used to be the Keys, but now they're all letting cruise ships in, so that's all done.
What would the Massachusetts equivalent of that
There's
be?
nothing. There's nothing in the Northeast. There's nothing that can even. There's been people have been here for too long.
Even the places in Western and Northwestern Mass are pass-throughs to get to other places that people are going. So people drive through them, and there's schools, sure.
Yeah, I was going to say Williams is tucked away in the northwest corner of the state, which is remote, but at least you have.
Yeah, there's colleges in Vermont, and in Montreal is not that far away. You're
right.
You're close to something.
Right.
The Upper Peninsula is geographically isolated, and also, so there's. I guarantee you that. What would you say, Artie? At least 15% of the population in the Upper Peninsula has never left the Upper Peninsula.
Oh yeah,
is that right?
Anything.
Oh God,
really?
I
yes.
bet it's more than that.
I was trying to make it even hit more real by saying 15%.
The weather can't be very good with the snow coming off the lake.
No, it's atrocious. But
why didn't they don't leave?
Well, people in the Upper Peninsula, they get snowed into their homes, full on snowed into their homes. They have to make preparations that they're not going to be able to leave their house for a week because of snow drifts and everything.
Oh man.
You'd probably have to get to Southwest Massachusetts to find a really remote, weird place like that. It's
it's not the same though. It's not isolated geographically. The Upper Peninsula is separated by nature from everything else.
It's
like
Massachusetts is bordered by, you can go to Connecticut, you go to New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, whatever.
And people came here in, the 1600s or whatever, and then, they've been plodding along and poking around for too long. Like, no one ever went up to the Upper Peninsula and went, this is great.
Sean brought up Massachusetts. I was trying to reel him back in. I didn't want you to be irritated with him for a third time today. We know that it's touch and go right now with your parents here.
Joe Parra talks to you. That's set on the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, but it's not filmed there,
No.
which is what is the hook of that. It's not. It's set in the Upper Peninsula, but it's not. It's certainly not shot there.
Nope.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll have a little bit more from Jaylen Brown.
champion Boston Celtics.
All the way 3, and he hits
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox won a game and lost a key component of their lineup last night in Detroit. Jaylen Brown, a 3-run homer, is part of a 5-run seventh inning, and the Red Sox beat the Tigers 5-4. The bad news is Roman Anthony left in the first inning after injuring his right wrist on a swing. X-rays negative after the game, but he's going to fly back to Boston today to get it looked at by a specialist. Tigers have also placed lefty Tarek Skubal on the injured list. He's expected to miss at least 2 months after elbow surgery. At the NBA playoffs, Philadelphia beat the Celtics in round 1 of the postseason, but they didn't have a lot left for the next game. They got blown out in game 1 of round 2 by the Knicks, 137-98. Out west, Minnesota took game 1 in San Antonio, 104-102. Orlando was fired head coach Jamal Mosley. Michigan's Dusty May, Billy Donovan, and Tom Thibodeau are reportedly the early favorites to replace him. Dallas has hired former Toronto GM Masai Ujiri as their new president. And hockey-wise, Carolina beat Philadelphia in game 1 of round 2, 3-2. Las Vegas beat Anaheim 3-1 to take a 1-0 series lead. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99. Treat mom to a delicious meal at the 9's this Mother's Day weekend. Enjoy a famous colossal lobster roll or juicy prime rib. You gotta love the 9's. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, The Sports Hub.
And now, back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
That you have to cross over into Canada. And I don't know if that's a geographical reason, like based on topography, or if it's just artificial lines. And Maine has got some hillbilly-ass places, I'm sure. Well, but I just don't know if you can put it at the same kind of remove.
It's remote, but it's not removed.
Well, Marcy called me too, and I talked to her, and she wanted to chime in on this, but I think she really just wanted to brag about some book that she read.
Oh,
it's one of these book readers.
Yeah, you got to nip that in the bud. You can't have your lady reading and informing herself.
Next,
she's going to start trying to vote.
I think her friends give her books. And
you let her have friends.
Well, and again, my fault. I'm going to have to cut off the friendship.
Yeah, that's the first thing. You got to control. You got to get more control in this relationship. There's no question. But okay, so what was her take? Did it have to do with the book she was reading? Or did she just go, "Hey, I read Huckleberry Finn. By the way, Maine doesn't have Maine's pretty far removed."
Oliver Kittredge? Do we know what this is?
Nope.
Anybody? Olive Kittredge? She said something about Olive Kittredge. And I don't know.
I can't tell you.
It's a 2008 novel by American author Elizabeth Strauss, set in Maine in the fictional coastal town. Okay, all right. Well, it's fictional. Made up.
Yeah. It's like if you're in a coastal town in the lower 48, I'm going to say that just by that you cannot be that.
If
far
it's
removed.
A place that you could conceivably pass through, going from like one populous or interesting place to another one, then it doesn't count.
Apparently, I've gotten 2 emails about one remote town in Maine called Eastport.
Yes.
And its population like 1,200. It is as far northeast as you can get and still be in the United States. It's right on the water.
It's where you see the sunrise first in any place the furthest part in the United States.
I mean, if you look, it's all the way over. It's as far east in Maine as you can get, pinned up against the coast.
But there's parts in northeastern Maine that are in the wilderness that are up on the Canadian border. That again, it's remote. Like there's no reason for you to go there. There's really, unless you were going to be going to the Maritimes by car, there's no reason for you to be driving through there. But again, it's not removed in the way that we were talking about earlier with the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
That's just saying that a couple of votes for a place called Calais, Maine, which is next to Eastport. So apparently these two are contenders for what you guys are talking about on the Upper Peninsula.
Did Bourdain go to Calais, Maine? Is that where he went? There was a director or something for his show that lived in Maine, and they did an episode up there, like in the middle of nowhere, Maine. I don't know the answer to it, but do they have their own accent and language?
I don't know the answer to that either.
Because that is true of the Upper Peninsula and true that I lived in the same state as the Upper Peninsula for 17 years, and I've never met anyone from the Upper Peninsula. Now, Tom Izzo and Steve Mariucci are from there, I am told. Not today, but I believe that is the case, that they were childhood friends growing up in the Upper Peninsula. But yeah.
And you've never met Tom Izzo?
I've never been to Atlantis at the same time as him.
Wow. You missed out.
I really-
on getting forced into getting your picture taken with him so he could get rid of you.
Just to interrupt the conversation, no question.
But it was a brilliant move, the way it was described.
All right,
It's one of my favorite stories.
Is this Jaylen Brown thing, is this from his Twitch still? This
Yes.
thing? Okay, so Jaylen Brown went live on Twitch the day after his team lost in Game 7. And the problem with doing that is, say he was on it for 2 hours. I'm sure he said like a bunch of stuff that would make everyone feel better. But what happens is no one's going to sit down and listen to 2 hours of him talking. So you just get what has been cherry picked out of that conversation or soliloquy or monologue. And you just get like the bad stuff. So in fairness to Jaylen Brown, I don't know everything that he had to say. But he said some interesting stuff. He was complaining about Embiid flopping. He was complaining about the officials. He said the officials had an agenda, as if the league said, we don't want that Celtics team that everyone seems to care about anywhere near our playoffs. No Celtic or Celtics fan can say the league is conspiring against them. That is absolutely untrue. The league needs the Celtics. If the league could have the Celtics and Lakers or Knicks and Lakers in the finals every year, they would gladly take that.
Yeah.
That would be the dream. I would imagine that everyone involved in the NBA that's not, maybe even some owners of smaller market teams want Lakers. And,
Short of like a
Celtics.
resurgent Bulls, and they would have to come along and have like star players, and that would, that's an easy thing to sell. And, it's like, a new Chicago Bulls dynasty. But other than that, no. Lakers versus Celtics or Knicks. They want that every year.
Right, and I would argue that the Bulls mean nothing to anyone. It was just that
It would take some time.
Transcendent Jordan. The uniform means nothing. That it was the transcendent star of Jordan that made them that team. I think that they could get anybody on it. I think they could win a championship, and it wouldn't kick in. It's L.A., Boston, and just the Knicks, even though they never win anything and never have really. The Knicks, just by the sheer amount of famous people that are fans of theirs, including most of the big names, it seems, in sports media, seem to have some kind of affiliation with the Knicks. And when I say most, I mean the over 50%. Because they come out of the woodwork. Like Stephen A. Smith, big Knicks fan, but he's a Cowboys fan. So he's cherry picking all over the place. He's not like me that cherry picked the Jets.
Congratulations.
Like a real scientist. Cherry picked that team when I was a kid. All right, here we go. Here is Jaylen Brown in his Twitch.
This group is a special group. So proud of this.
He's talking about this year's team.
This group is a special group. So proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know playoffs kind of shifted our rotations and what we wanted to do. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career. One, streaming with you guys, chat, was awesome.
Okay, so Jaylen Brown is 29 years old. It was his favorite year. First of all, he's talking about like he's leaving camp, and it was the best summer ever. Perhaps Dan Alpern would like a word about his role in Meatballs.
How did I know
Our own Dan Alpern was in the movie Meatballs, a movie I've never seen.
I knew
but
it.
He was in Meatballs.
I just knew it.
I know what it is, but I've never seen Meatballs. I was 5 when it came out. I don't know anything about Meatballs.
Classic.
Problematic in 2026.
Yeah.
As most comedies of the early 80s were. But nonetheless, it was the best year ever. And because, A, he got to stream to his fans, which has been very rewarding for him. Fair enough. Again, he's 29. Or 28. Yeah, he's 29. So he's a little old, but nonetheless. Do you think that maybe if you really want to read into it, the absence of Jason Tatum made this
First thing I thought of.
Best year ever.
First thing I thought of.
How do you think of anything else first, other than I played most of the year without Jason Tatum and it was my favorite year? By the way,
He proved to the world that he's a number one. That's what he did.
forget about the Tatum part of it. All right, it was a different dynamic, and you had to come together as a team in a way you didn't think you'd be able to. How about the year when you won the championship? Would that not be your, kind of your default favorite year?
Yeah.
Or even the MVP year?
Now won the Finals MVP and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP that year.
And not picking that year automatically as your favorite. Okay, it's a selfless gesture. I understand that. But this year when you didn't play without Tatum, it ended up being your favorite. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it bothers me because how do you also not put so much more weight on the way the season ended when you're thinking about whether or not it's your favorite year?
And it's just like if I had any sway with a famous athlete, my first thing would be like, do not broadcast yourself in this kind of manner. Like, do not allow yourself to speak for 2 hours on things, because all that's going to happen is people are going to cherry pick this stuff like we have, and they're going to comment on it, and it's all going to get lost. There might be context for this. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt, but it's just no good is going to come of this.
But if you do, at least wait. I mean, that was the day after.
No, I know.
Only bad stuff is going to be said if it's still fresh.
The risk reward for putting yourself on for public consumption live for a great deal of time is the payoff is almost zero. It's like Twitter. Like I some people profit off it, I'm sure, and some people have made money off of it. And like brands have gotten big because of it. But for 99.9% of us, all Twitter can cause is problems. It can't. Again, I never put anything on Twitter when I was on it that I stepped back and said, well done, Fred. That was good stuff. The only things that came of any consequence of Twitter were bad. So it's the same thing with streaming, is that if you go and you go stream of consciousness for 2 hours about yourself and, what just happened, you're going to say a bunch of stuff that sounds really stupid. Like, this was my favorite team ever the day after you lost to Game 7, because we as fans assume that you're like, not getting out of bed and like, this is going to haunt you.
Yeah.
And which
it's fair or unfair. That's the assumption, because
they're going to care, but in a way that's different from the way fans care. And I'm not saying that he automatically has to make this his least favorite season either. There's a lot to take away from this season that was really good for Jaylen, really good for the team. But for a season that ended the way it did, and that you played the majority of it, almost the entirety of the regular season, without Jason Tatum, to call it your favorite is odd.
All right.
It just struck me as very, very strange.
Like, being able to talk to y'all was like therapy every single day.
Yeah, that's not good therapy. It's not good therapy.
A one-sided conversation?
No, it's a very narcissistic way of conversation, which I know, for I do it for a living. But most therapy best done one-on-one with someone who has a oath not to share your information. Short of threats, they're not allowed to talk. So I would keep my therapy behind closed doors. This is what I'd be saying if I was friends with him. Oh, if I was friends with him. I think we'd get along great. I'd go, let's walk around the reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
Just me and you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bug you about the team.
Let's chop it up.
Yeah.
Just guys.
I'm gonna talk to you like a normal guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you play for the Celtics.
2 years ago at Media Day, he didn't ask for you by name, but when he walked in, he saw just me and Wallach there. He wanted to know where the other guy was.
I'm guessing that he was briefed right before he came in the room that it was a show of 3 guys, and then he came into 2.
Yeah.
And then he went, where's the other guy?
That's you just talking negatively. That's all that is. You don't know that.
With my parents in town?
You know what I mean? I mean, not every day, like once a week or whatever, what I was doing, just to be able to get on here and give y'all the perspective, and kind of, because, these narratives be going left and right, just to hear it from the horse's mouth. But then also being able to just be a part of a group that just through the uncertainty came to fight and came to compete and came and went to war. I'll take a team like that any day of the week.
Yeah, fair enough. Pearl, go ahead, Pearl.
Yeah, I mean,
are you the lawyer?
No.
Okay, go ahead then. All right, go ahead.
So the way I'm an objective person here on this. The way you guys just bash Jaylen Brown is because y'all have been looking to do this for you.
Wait a second.
It's crazy.
Can we go through this? Can we go through this? Can we go through this exercise? What did we say? What was bashing about Jaylen Brown during that last segment that we just did?
The whole narrative of he's narcissistic. You just said that.
You don't think that doing a live stream where you're doing it for hours at a time, where you're doing a monologue about yourself, is it all narcissistic?
First of all, that's what all of these basketball players
I'm just asking. That's false equivalency.
I don't think that it's narcissistic. If that's the case, all these influencers and YouTubers, they're all narcissists.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Of course they are. That's exactly
Pearl,
right.
all you're doing is saying there's more narcissists. Yeah, there's.
Okay, okay, let's do. If you want to do it that way, fine, do it that way. My general point is, for him to say that this was his favorite season, right? Where he's saying just because you win a championship, that doesn't always be your favorite season. Your favorite season could be like, okay, well, because of the expectations that we had, because no one believed that we could do anything.
Are you a Celtics fan? Okay, I get where you're going.
I am not a Celtics fan.
Okay,
but I want to say this.
But
Please,
you're not a
allow
Celtics
me
fan.
to say this.
Go ahead.
Allow me to say this. The problem is that the Celtic fan and media in this town is so delusional. To sit there, all you guys were coming on saying, "Oh, there's no chance that the Celtics would win." Actually, y'all helped me get a trip to Vegas because I went with.
I like these asides and getting right to the point. You had to say that. I don't know. I can't listen to you anymore.
How?
I have one thing to say. I got a trip to Vegas. Oh, that's great. Thank you for saying that.
At the beginning of the season, the majority of people didn't think or didn't love their chances at, making a championship run or, doing well in the East. How soon did that change? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
8 weeks?
Less. Yeah.
And ever since, I would say, late November, that has not been the narrative. People, like, this whole notion that no one gave him a chance, at the beginning, yeah, it was tough to give him a chance because they were down their best player, and they quickly proved everyone wrong. And ever since then, the expectation changed to the point where locally, nationally, probably within the walls of the team, they felt they were making it to the NBA Finals. Look how things are laying out for us, and look how this team is playing. And now that we got Tatum back, forget about it. Forget it. It was forgotten.
This narrative is foolish. It's just acting like you go, oh, this team's not going to be very good. Then you go into a coma, and then you wake up when the season's over, and you go, oh, yeah, this team wasn't very good. It's an idiotic exercise. Yes, people thought the team wasn't going to be very good. Then the team was good. Then the team got into the playoffs and was a resounding favorite and lost. That's very disappointing. To pretend otherwise I don't have time for it. It's nonsense. That yes, and the team took advantage of, including Jaylen Brown, rubbing in everyone's face that they thought the team wasn't going to be very good. And that's great. They earned that. But with that comes when you F up and lose in the first round to a play-in team, that people are going to be disappointed. You can't have it both ways, and there's no argument against it. You can't. You can't celebrate all season about how you've overcome these incredible odds and you've rubbed it in everyone's face, which is great. You did. But with that comes expectations in the playoffs. It doesn't turn off. You can't revert back to the old argument just because things didn't work out in your favor. That's not how it works.
And by the way, just for Jaylen Brown specifically, I think we have been kinder to Jaylen Brown as a show. He was getting ripped on other shows on this station and in other places yesterday, to the point where I started questioning myself. I'm like, God, did he not play as well as I thought he did? Because
33 points in Game 7.
You know, did he lose the handle a couple of times? Sure. Was he taking fouls that you wish he didn't? Well, that's not his fault if you listen to him. But yes, was the shot selection off? Yeah, of course. But I didn't think he sucked. I didn't think he stunk it up. And that's what other people are saying about him, not me, not us.
If everyone's getting fatigued of people talking poorly about Jaylen Brown, there's the opposite fatigue I have for people saying that he's being attacked constantly. I'm kind of over that. I said I couldn't have been more clear. I went out of my way to say that he was probably on for 2 hours and we cherry-picked bad stuff, and I'm sure he said a bunch of good stuff. I don't have patience. I'm done with the patience with this. Fine, Jaylen Brown's, it's disgusting what people do to him. It's too much. He's a superstar in town, and when they have a disappointing loss, to question himself going publicly in front of a bunch of people and announcing that this was his favorite season being analyzed is completely out of line. It's just, we're going to pretend that it wasn't disappointing that they lost to Philadelphia. We're going to pretend that it's not interesting that a big player on a huge team in town is up talking and sharing opinions and making excuses for the loss. We're just going to say that none of this is newsworthy and we should just be ignoring it. Fine.
Well, no, what you should do, Fred, is
stop getting excited about this team and enjoy the house money year.
Yeah, no, that's a terrible intellectual argument. It's a awful intellectual argument, and
that's
it makes
what he was
going
to get to, but he had to talk about the trip to Vegas first. But the last caller, he was essentially going to say that.
He certainly wanted a wide berth with time. He just thought, this is, allow me to have the floor. I like Jaylen Brown. Now let me tell you about my travel plans. And it's just, I'm sort of over it. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
More.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. The Toucher and Hardy email segment is powered by Jeffrey Glassman Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in a car or work accident, you got to get Glassman. Don't just send an email. Call all sevens at 617-777-7777 or visit gottagetglassman.com. We did not get to this before we will get to any emails, but John Sterling has passed away. And obviously a lot of media, it was based in New York, and they're a big John Sterling fan. So Mad Dog, I actually heard some of this live. Mad Dog had Mike Francesa on yesterday to reunite the Mike and the Mad Dog franchise, and here is what occurred.
Michael, how are you today? Things good?
Good, dog. How are you? And, it's a sad day, obviously. I heard the news. As a matter of fact, you texted me about 10 minutes after I became aware that John...
Yeah, he big timed him right away. He said that you texted me 10 minutes after.
I already knew, yeah.
After I already knew. So how about that?
It's important information. You're just telling the story and just going to, squeeze that in there. Details.
Yeah. Just, dog, I heard about it way before you. Now let's get real boring. You're moving too quick. Slow it down.
Michael, how are you today? Things good?
Good, dog. How are you? And, it's a sad day, obviously. I heard the news. As a matter of fact, you texted me about 10 minutes after I became aware that John had passed. I knew he was very sick. I knew one of his doctors, and his doctor had called me.
Of course you did.
I know every doctor.
One of his doctors called me, and I'm about to blow this guy up by saying that he broke HIPAA laws by telling me about his condition.
HIPAA laws. This guy's a lot like the Parcells of doctors. He wanted to bring me in. He said, He said, Mike, do you want to advise how to handle this? And I said, I don't have the time. I'm doing a podcast. I'm a semi-retired.
If you had to rank the doctors, where'd you put them? Dr. Greenblum, he works out of Kings Park.
I knew one of his doctors, and his doctor had called me and asked me to call John. I tried, but he couldn't come to the phone.
That seems like a wild abuse of patient-doctor.
You couldn't go on the phone? Why didn't you call him up?
I'm going to say that never happened. I'm going to say that Mike is lying about that.
Hey, I'm this guy's doctor, just so you know. I think he's going to die. Best call him, Mike, because you knew him.
I held his phone up to his face to get his contacts, and I thought, who needs to know? Francesa.
There's no one more important than Mike Francesa. I know you have 4 kids, but let's get Francesa on the line post-haste.
Quickly.
There are things left to be said.
His voice alone will brighten your day.
He jammed the living years and then just put it up to John Sterling's head and said, talk to him.
I knew that he had been very, very ill, but it still was a surprise and sad news to hear that he had passed today. But I think in the aftermath, it's really become a celebration more than anything else. And I think he would have enjoyed it very much. I think he would have enjoyed it a great deal, whatever he's heard about himself today.
And then they went back further into the conversation and talked about past Yankee broadcasters going back before Mel Allen. And then talked about how the guy before Mel Allen never was excited by anything. So you got a taste of that.
Mike, they used to just transmit the games via Morse code.
I know.
I
know.
No, it's just
the guy who invented Morse code called me before he died.
Yeah, sure, with the dots and dashes, absolutely. Yeah,
he went beep, boop, pop, boop, pop.
This is baseball.
I said, talk to me like normal.
This is baseball. Beep, 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 beep. I could tell. I could tell right then. They're leaning at the top of the fifth. That's what that means. A beep, a pop, pop, beep, beep,
they
beep.
Asked me,
bloop, bloop.
They asked me about mail.
Sure.
And how to do it.
Yeah, talk about that.
And I said, put the stamp upper left. Upper left.
Upper left. No, it goes to the upper right. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I know, but I said upper left.
No, but
and he ignored me.
The upper left,
and look where we are now.
In the upper right.
It's dying. The post office is dying.
Let me tell you something. They need to privatize the postal service.
It's a geographical issue of envelope placement of stamp.
50 years ago, when Nixon first.
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I took him off the gold standard too at the same time. You need to reprioritize. Reprioritize and privatize.
stamps. No.
The eye goes right, left, right. It's a joke. No one. It's a joke. The postmaster general's a bum, and he should have listened to me. And now it's dying. The post office is dying so much.
Okay.
So say hello to you. Say goodbye to your mailman before they're gone forever.
I know you just played a clip of this. Did Dog get in a word at all, or did he just?
Yeah, he asked.
Okay.
He started quizzing him about old Yankees announcers,
Okay.
and like they went back before Mel Allen, and Francesa's not like 100, but he was talking about in his youth he would listen to such and such a guy, Red Barber. Maybe?
Yeah, Red Barber. Sure.
Yeah, like Red Barber didn't apparently care about anything. He was John shaking his head, like nodding his head like he knows.
My dad would tell me stories of Red Barber.
So the idea with Red Barber was that he did not react.
No, he was very, very professional, according to my father.
okay.
I've never heard the man. I don't know.
I would assume.
I haven't heard tapes
I know
of
you're
him.
very old.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard tapes of him.
I've heard Mel Allen, not live, but I've obviously heard tons of Mel Allen from highlights. But nonetheless, no, it was good. I mean, people romanticize that show, and people romanticize things that happened in the past because they were younger, and you tend to romanticize the past. But I will tell you this: I think Mad Dog is vastly better without Francesa. I think it's a lot better, and I think also the advantage of that show gets in hindsight is that the Yankees were so good during like the vast majority of that run that if you're tuning into something in the mode of celebration, that you tend to remember things like a lot more fondly. I mean, I'll take people's word for it. I didn't listen to Mike and the Mad Dog, but and this is just such a, if you want to talk about narcissistic, this is such a narcissistic thing to say. It's just, I told you guys the story about that I was on the beach and I went, oh yeah, WFAN, and I turned on Mike and the Mad Dog and they were just flipping through an almanac looking for a boxer's name. And I went, this is no better than the garbage that's on in Detroit. They're just looking for some boxers.
Being on 5 hours a day gives you license, apparently.
Listen, I'll give them
stuff.
I love Mad Dog, and I'll give them a lot of credit.
Dog was great. Dog used to be the last guest on Letterman, like once a month. Remember that? He used to go on Letterman once a month. He would be the last guy. Letterman would get genuinely afraid when Dog would get animated.
Well,
Letterman would like lean back. He's like, "Oh, keep this guy away from me."
It's just in that world, like you have such a better opportunity. Like Stern got on Letterman just because he was in the building when he was on WNBC, and then so guys with shows that need to fill time will listen to you because they're in the car. It's like in LA. If you're on the air in LA, you're getting a TV gig. Now, it might not work out, but you're getting a TV gig. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel was the sports guy on Kevin and Bean. Adam Carolla was like a voice guy on Kevin and Bean. Just by nature of having that gig, Kimmel got Win Ben Stein's money, and that led to the production deal with Comedy Central that got him the Man Show.
Right.
Which then turned into now he's a late night host, but he had a lesser job than any of the three of us. He was just the sports guy on a alternative radio station. I mean, that was a nothing job, but he turned that into, one of the highest paying gigs in entertainment. So good for him. But there is that, like my kids will go like, why did you never get like da-da-da-da-da? I'll go, well, I'm not talented. But second of all, like these guys all lived in LA or New York.
Wrong time, wrong city.
Right. Like, there wasn't like a ton of people in Atlanta that were like, oh, hey, CNN didn't go. Well, no, I did CNN, and they won't let me on again. They didn't like how I handled myself. They thought I was too animated or whatever during my debate.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were too animated?
Yeah, I was like too angry. I wouldn't let the other guy talk.
Preach.
I was 25. And then I had a friend who worked at CNN, and she called me, and she said, they did not like you. She said, everyone's talking about how terrible you were. And I'm like, what you going to do? So much for me. Now you couldn't pay me to go on CNN. Hoochie moochie, I don't need that in my life.
I only had that happen once, a job interview at a station in Seattle, where I was interviewing for the production director job. This is probably 2000, maybe back then. And the salespeople were asking me, it's like, well, how do you feel about doing spec spots, which is when you create a fake commercial that they then take to a client and say, well, here's what your commercial would sound like if it were on the air. And I said, well, I don't like it. I said, why not? I said, well, why don't you just go sell the radio station? The ratings here are pretty good. And then once you sell the radio station, I will make you a commercial for that client. Or at the very least, how you feel about a bird dog? I'm like, what's that? I'm like, you spiff me something. If my spec spot helps you close the deal, then you kick me back some cash, either officially on the books or just take care of it.
Sounds right.
So I thought that made perfect sense. And that's actually kind of how it works at a lot of stations. And this wasn't, the 70s and 80s when you needed a spec spot. You can't imagine what your, this would sound like. No, you can imagine it. You don't need me producing spec spot after spec spot for you to go in there and do a pitch. So afterward, I was walking down the hall. They had put me up in a hotel. They had picked me up at the airport, given me car service. On the way back, the guy said, yeah, can you find your own way back to the airport? I said, well, I can. Why? He goes, yeah, that didn't go great. They didn't like it. They didn't like your whole reaction to the idea of doing spec spots. I said, well, good. I don't want this job anyway if I'm going to come in here and start doing a bunch of nonsense work for these people.
You are not a people pleaser. I'll tell you what. I would have said anything. I would have and then I would have handled it when it came. You got a lot of balls telling them that you wouldn't do that in a job interview. In a job interview, I'd be like, sure, whatever. Yeah, I love it. It's the greatest. And then when they asked me to do it, I'd be like, go screw yourself. I've already been hired. That's my way of doing things. Very passive, very snake in the grass.
The best part is we're learning that Hardy has been this way his entire life. There's been no change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got a window into his teen years earlier. We get a window into his early 20s here. When you say he's not a people pleaser, bam. Perfect.
Yeah,
yes.
in that kind of intimate setting where I'm putting on a show for people in order to get something I want, I'll say anything. Yeah. What do you want me to do? Let the monkey dance. Let the seal clap. What do you want me to do? Then, once you get me, then I'm myself.
No, Hardy's
Hardy's in the job interview.
Hardy's the flamethrower, like George burning the bridge. Flame on.
I had a little extra sand due to some, chemical enhancement back then. But ironically, I was out looking for another job because I was convinced I was going to get fired in Las Vegas.
Sure.
Because of that same issue.
Right.
Well, I mean, generally in radio, you have to be fairly aware, certainly through the first 10, 15 years of your career, that there's the end is always right around the corner.
Right.
I mean, I was just under the assumption that I was going to get fired from WBCN. I quit WBCN during one show. I didn't care at all. And then I really didn't care at all. And then you have kids.
There's great power in not caring.
Oh, absolutely. Not caring got me my career. Not caring. I didn't care if I got fired. I would have done anything. But in the job interview, you're going to find this hard to believe, and everyone's going to go, no, but I am a bit of a people pleaser. Like in a intimate setting where I'm supposed to put on the show, do I want them to like me? I want them desperately to like me. But then once they've proven that they liked me, then I can start being a dick. That's when I feel the self-assurance to be a dick.
Sure.
I don't know.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
You're thinking, what could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going on?
Something that we didn't mention, because why would we? But is Chris Forsberg going to be with us tomorrow?
I would assume
That's the
so.
plan, yes.
We need to ask him not only how he's feeling about the end of the Celtics season, but the end of Spirit Airlines.
Oh, yeah. Too,
Oh, yeah. And by the way, when they stopped, they just stopped.
It's no, you're not flying today. You're not flying ever. And I think if you had paid with a credit card or a debit card, you got your money back. They refunded tickets. If you had paid any other way through, points or some kind of vouchers or anything like that, like, yeah, we'll get back to you. We don't know. I mean, that is a form of like currency in some way, and you've accumulated.
Well, yeah, but it's currency of a dead currency. You are holding property that is now a dead currency.
Right. And maybe even with like, credit card miles or something like that, like, we're not sure.
So my guess is if you raised up to do a class action suit, that Spirit would go, sure, go ahead. We're not a company anymore. Like, go do whatever you want to do. But I did find it interesting that Spirit, which was a terrible airline, a real crappy airline.
Yes.
Rude in its crappiness, like almost in your face with its crappiness.
My one encounter on Spirit is I was supposed to take a 5 p.m. flight, and this was like a work-related thing. I got to the airport. They announced an hour before, and it was delayed. It was delayed until 7. It was delayed again until 9. And then it was delayed until 11:30. It was going to turn into a red eye. And the flight finally came in, and I saw the pilot and all the flight attendants walk off the plane. And I said, this plane ain't going nowhere. And in that, at the gate, people, strollers and kids and all this stuff. And I just beelined for another carrier because I had to get out. I had to be somewhere the next morning. I said, just get me there. And, what about stand in line for your refund? Yeah, later, maybe, never. People who went to the Spirit counter, there's no one there.
No,
never.
And that's what happened to me. Is we flew Spirit once, and my son left a backpack with like his security blanket or like something that meant that was very valuable to him as a toddler, and he left
Knuffle Bunny.
Right, and he left the bag. And so at baggage claim, I went to go talk to Spirit to see if they could call back to the gate to see if someone found the bag. And the door was locked, and the woman at the counter was having dinner.
Yeah.
And just looking at me.
They canceled that flight, and they told all the people there were the young kids and everything. And they're like, well, what do we do tonight? And they're like, I don't know. Are there hotel vouchers? They're like, are you kidding? No. There's no meal vouchers. There's no hotel vouchers. You've been here for 7 hours already, and you're not flying tonight.
It was almost impressive in the way that the person was being almost assaulting in their indifference. Like I'm sitting there knocking, like, we're all tired and we're traveling with a toddler and like a baby, which isn't their responsibility, but just to me to knock on the door of an airline while someone's in there and they're sitting at the desk eating and they're just staring daggers at me. And finally, I just had to find someone that worked at the airport and said, I know I can't get the right back through security. Could you just call up to the gate to see if someone could see this thing, find this thing? My kid's going nuts. And they did. And then a guy came and brought me the bag.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was for someone from the airport. It might have been someone from Logan Airport.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit people were just like, F you. And it wasn't midnight. I don't remember what time of day it was, but someone was working. All the other airlines had busy as bees.
Yeah, but if you're working for Spirit and you go down the hall and you get yourself a Cinnabon, you don't eat that thing when it's hot. It's no good.
I was in Atlanta. It was in Atlanta. We had landed in Atlanta, and the Spirit Airlines lady was having herself a feast and did not want to be disturbed. All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.
Talk to you tomorrow. Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Beetle here with Mike Albert's daughter, Grace, from Premier Basement Waterproofing. If you're moving into a new home or finishing your basement like I did, call